Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fat Man Beyond. I'm Kevin Smith.
I'm Marc Bernardin.
Hey! As Banffman told you before the show got started, kids at home, we are doing this live streaming from the first time from Smodcastle Cinemas in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey. This is the movie theater that I grew up going to when I was a kid and whatnot. I've told the story before to people who were here live, but the home audience probably doesn't know this. This is the theater where I saw the Friday the 13th that had the heavyset kid in it. And it was packed like this. Opening Friday night, it was a Friday, and with Friday the 13th, place was fucking packed with peers and teenagers. And Ed Hapstacks, God bless him, my friend, at one point when the heavyset dude was eating chocolate and shit, dead silence in the audience, he goes, "There's Kev Smith." So this theater traumatized me at a young age. Tonight we're about to erase all of that, and partly the reason that's going to be erased is because I get to sit here with the great Marc Bernardin. Give it up for Marc.
Hey, everybody.
How are you, my friend?
I'm ecstatic.
Yeah.
I'm electric. I'm thrilled. I'm not sleepy at all. Let's fucking do a podcast, man.
First off, for those in the room and for those at home, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. I tried to wear a green jacket, but the green jacket I got was from before I lost a bunch of weight, and so I look like David Byrne in the jacket. So instead, I'm going with the untraditional blue. We have just concluded the Ides of Marc, which is a mini film festival that we had here. Starting on the 15th, the Ides of March. It ran from Wednesday, Thursday, and then it ended tonight. On Wednesday, we watched Dune, David Lynch's Dune.
The best Dune.
The masterful Dune. Then, last night we watched Streets of Fire with about 20 people. And it was amazing, because a lot of those cats hadn't even seen it. Who was here? Put your hands together last night. Some cats had never seen it before, man, so it was kind of a revelation. Tonight at 5 o'clock, we watched Flash Gordon, and we had a lot more people here for that. The festival went incredibly well. We're going to do it again next year. It stemmed from a joke that was told on this show, I think.
Yeah.
At one point, I was like, "I got a movie theater. You should do something there." And he was like, "Let's do the Ides of Marc." And I was like, "That's hysterical." And it literally turned into a fucking thing. So be careful what you say out loud around me. I'll be like, "That's marketable."
And apparently last night when we were doing Streets of Fire, I pitched you another one, kind of on the fly. Keep Calm and Curry On. 3 Tim Curry movies. Because we were talking about Legend.
Yes.
We're like, let's just do a bunch of Tim Curry movies.
So I was like, "Oh, we could do Legend," because we were talking about Legend. And then Marc was like, "We could do Clue." Yes. And then Marc was desperate to avoid the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I don't know how you do Keep Calm and Curry On without doing it, so we might have to do that. But I always feel weird trying to do, which one? Times Square? Three Musketeers. That's right. He's in that as well. What is it?
Home Alone 2.
Home Alone 2. Could you imagine? Whatever the wild card spot will be, perhaps we'll leave it open to the public to vote.
You said
well, Legend's the first one. What? Hey, this is not an interactive fucking show. I said we'll vote online, people. But yes, so we'll do Keep Calm and Curry On, man. Maybe we'll do because we can't wait all the way until the next March, because that would be the Ides of March. So maybe March, April, May, June, July, August. So September. Maybe
September.
We'll Keep Calm and Curry On, so that every 6 months.
I'm coming out.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice. We've got so much show for you tonight. Lots of things that we didn't cover in the home show that we did. Mm-hmm. So how do you want to kick off?
Well, we've both seen some stuff.
Yes.
Right? Today, I saw Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
Oh, shit. Did you?
I did.
Did you see it for free here?
No.
Smodcastle Cinemas, where even Marc Bernardin won't come.
For free. No, because you were playing a little too late in the day.
Yeah.
So I needed a matinee. So I went at 12:40 over in Hazlitt. Me and three
the
other
fucking Cinemark.
people. Yeah. If you had a matinee, I'd have come here.
Fair enough. We talked about it with the audience before we ran the show, but for the folks watching at home, this is also a first-run movie theater. So like real-ass movies are playing here, not just like '80s movies like we've been doing all week. So the Adam Driver Shoots Dinosaurs movie is here. Creed 19 is here. And Shazam opened here tonight. So I guess our first show is like 4 o'clock or something like that. The 7 o'clock show. Ern, how many people bought tickets for the night show? I think that was the 4 o'clock. How many people bought tickets for the night show? Somebody go ask Connor up front. This is one of my favorite games to play, is be like, how many people bought tickets? Like when we did Dune the other night, like Dune was the highest grossing film at Smodcastle Cinemas on Wednesday night because like 65 had one person in it. One person was like, I love Adam Driver and I love dinosaurs and I'm willing to do this fucking alone.
Kylo Ren hates dinosaurs, take my money.
When we opened Creed here, I think Creed had 6 people on opening night. When we opened Avatar had 12 people on opening night. And a lot of people are like, yeah, that's because you don't do 3D. And I'm like, but we are like one of the only movie theaters in a 10-mile radius and shit. But whenever we do something old, the place fills up. Like a couple last week, I guess is when we did Clerks Open All Night, where we showed Clerks, Clerks 2, and Clerks 3 from midnight till 7 in the morning. People came in their pajamas and stuff. And oddly enough, didn't sleep through the whole thing. Even me, I was awake. I was like, what's going to happen to this Dante? I hope he lives. But older stuff really tends to play here. I mean, I guess it's because there are other movie theaters in the area, like the aforementioned Cinemark, our fucking Lex Luthor. But yeah, old stuff. I think the further we go on, the more we'll find luck with the older stuff. We showed the Muppet movie here as part of a series of films called The Movies That Made Me, and I wasn't here for it, sadly. But we had like 160 people for the Muppet movie. So much so that Ernie was like, these Muppets, they're a thing, aren't they? And so he got like, you know, there was no kids movie out like 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So Ernie just ordered up a Muppet movie. We tried to get The Great Muppet Caper, but I guess we got Muppets Take Manhattan or something like that, and ran that for a week and actually had more people come to that than come to 65. I mean, I'm not like bashing on 65. It's just when you think about like owning a movie theater, you're like, I'm going to be rich. That is not the case. Unless you're showing older shit. But the case in point, Mark went and saw a new thing down the road. Let's talk about Shazam.
I'm not going to say much because it literally opened today. So I'm not going to spoil anything. But I will say, I think if anybody knows me, I was not going in expecting very much.
Bar was low?
The bar was incredibly low. I might have been expecting more from Ant-Man than I was from Shazam.
Oh shit, we saw how that went.
I know.
Mark's still talking bitterly about Ant-Man.
God, fucking the gangbang of it all.
I was talking about my fucking relatives and the gangbang of it all. I was talking about my relatives. I was literally talking about my aunt, and he was like, it had nothing to do with Quantumania, and he was like, Ant-Man.
But I surprisingly did not hate Shazam.
Put that on a poster right there.
Surprisingly didn't hate it. Fat Man Beyond.
Tell us, what did you not hate about it?
You know, it's a kids movie, and so you can't expect much in terms of stakes. Really, you can't expect much in terms of real gravity. But by the end of that movie, it kind of gets surprisingly emotional in ways that I didn't expect. You know, and much of it is because, you know, where Billy Batson is in terms of his adolescence, where he is in relation to his family, you know, and him sort of moving from one phase of life to another. And I did find myself kind of moved in the last act of it. I was not really moved in the first 2 acts, because whatever. And like,
all they have to do is finish well, though.
You know,
that's what they
the
say about
effect.
movies in general. Like, as long as you leave the theater happy, then it doesn't matter if the first 2 acts kind of sag or suck.
Yeah, like I don't understand why Judi Dench is in that movie. Like, I'm sorry, Helen Mirren. Helen Mirren, not Judi Dench. Helen Mirren. But still.
Good point, yeah. I didn't understand why Judi Dench was in it either, because she's not in the fucking movie.
Yeah, just walking around the background, like just looking for stuff.
She was dressed as a cat with no asshole. Helen Mirren, the great Helen Mirren, who's married to a director, Taylor Hackford.
Yeah, who directed Ray.
Yeah, amongst other things. Absolutely. I always think of him as the director of Against All Odds.
Deep cut.
Yeah, very deep cut. Something we'll be showing here next week as a first run movie.
But like, listen, I've had worse times at superhero movies. Again, for the poster. But you could do worse than go see Shazam: Fury of the Gods, like go see Quantumania.
Was there the last Shazam was the first Shazam, I should say, was a surprisingly touching film by the end when they brought the family together and all his fellow orphans, spoilers, became like the Marvel family. Did it function kind of like that?
A little bit. I mean, I hesitate very much to spoil a lot. I will say that there was a cameo in that movie that I'd heard got cut, but wasn't.
Wonder Woman? I mean, they spoiled it. Like they marketed that for the last like 3 days online. The internet was so mad because like, why does DC keep giving away? Like the way Black Adam was like, hey man, Superman's in the movie and shit. And then they started doing that for this as well. So I knew that Wonder Woman was in it from 3 days ago.
I didn't say it, right? Like I was trying to be fucking cool about this, and
spoilers.
Yeah.
Where in the movie? Beginning, middle, end?
End.
Very end?
Yeah.
Like post-credit scene or like?
In the movie proper.
And was she like, congratulations, you're a superhero or something like that?
Yes, welcome to the Justice League.
Is that what she does?
No.
Oh. Because I was like, fuck this show. I'm going to go see that right now.
But yeah,
here's the thing. I bet you, like after this is done, for the people in the theater here, we're going to be watching a little something.
A little something.
That we're not going to, yes. Are we allowed to say?
I mean, I haven't been that fucking precious about it online, but, you know, it's just a bonus. Like, if you came all the way from wherever you came, you know, the very least is we can not just give you a show for 1, 2, 3 hours, probably not 3.
Oh, it might be 3.
Nice. Yeah, like, what have we ever done? Hey, it's a tight 45. Everybody go home.
Yes.
But yeah, just a little something, like a little fucking gift basket in the version of a movie we're going to show you for 15 minutes and 16 seconds.
Is that how long it is?
Yes.
15, 16?
15, 16.
For those at home going, what are they talking about? Mark has talked about it on the podcast many times, and we've updated throughout the episodes. He said by the time he was 50, he wanted to direct something. And he did. He directed a short called Splinter. So when we're done with Fat Man Beyond, once we're offline, we're going to actually, since we know a guy with a movie theater, we're actually going to show the short to everybody here in attendance and whatnot.
Yes. And I am incredibly sympathetic to, because we had some almost 3,000 donors to this movie, and many of them have not gotten to see it yet.
All they have to do is come to Smodcastle Cinemas.
Apparently. Some of you are in the house, and for that I remain eternally grateful. But for the ones who are not in the house and couldn't be a part of it, and are like, why are you fucking showing that movie and I can't see it yet? Technically, this is a festival. Yeah. I can show it at festivals.
Ah, look at it. Look at your workaround. Very nice. Yes.
Loopholes are your friend.
Yeah.
I can't distribute it, and technically sending it out to 3,000 people would count as digital distribution, so I can't do that.
Right.
But just between us girls, we can watch a movie, right?
Yeah. When you're the filmmaker, you can do whatever you want, including make yoga hosers. For those in the audience, how many people helped? What did you do? Kickstarter? Or?
Yes, Kickstarter.
How many people helped Kickstarter? Put your hands together. Look at that. He made his dream come true, and you're going to see the result tonight. Maybe after that's over, we'll watch the last 3 minutes of Shazam.
Just skip the rest of the movie. Yeah. That's how it ends. All right.
How was the Cinemark Theater? What do they do that we don't, that you went there?
Well, they showed a matinee. Is what they did.
It's
I have some nostalgia for that theater because for a long time that was the theater when I lived in New Jersey. I lived in Aberdeen, New Jersey for like 15 years. And that was my movie theater. And
Mark's lady comes from the area as well.
Yeah, she was born in Middletown and lived in Red Bank when I met her. And when we bought a house and got married and had children, that happened in Aberdeen. So that was my sort of little hometown pocket. So going back in there, I was like, oh, that dumb arcade is still in the corner. That still has fucking like a Terminator Salvation video game.
Salvation?
Yeah.
That's the one with
Sam Worthington.
Yeah, and the
Christian
Screamer.
Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale.
The Screamer.
When he got mad
Batman?
and yelled. Yes. In that movie, he was like, "Rah, rah, rah," but on the set of that movie, that's the one where he's like, "Oh, good for you."
Out of my fucking sight line.
Which he apologized for. He went on, like Ralph Garman on Hollywood Babylon always does, his impression of Christian Bale screaming and stuff. But Ralph worked at K-Rock for years on the Kevin and Bean show. And Christian Bale, like they were making fun of him for like all day for that. And then Christian Bale called in and actually was like, "Look, I just want to apologize. I'm not going to try to do this British accent."
Oh, come on, do it.
"I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll do his Batman. That's better." But apologize and talk to him for a while. And Ralph was just like, for a while they were vetting the call going, "This can't be him." But it was legit him, man. So I always thought that was kind of classy move. Not when he yelled at somebody, but like when he was like, "Yeah, that was a dick move" and stuff. What else was the experience like at Cinemark? How was the popcorn?
Didn't have any. My seats were a little fucked up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do tell.
Because they got like the fancy dancy reclining seats.
Yeah.
But there is a sign above every theater saying, "If you have an issue with your seat, let us know before the movie starts." So I go sit down in my seat, and the one next to me looks like it had been like, it's like Dom Toretto had driven it off a cliff and it landed somewhere, and so the seat was fucking out and sideways and
family.
Yeah, hashtag family. And so then because that seat was fucked up, my seat didn't move, and I was like, oh well. Luckily, there's only 4 other people in this giant theater. I'm gonna just pick another seat.
Nice.
And I did. That was my experience. Fucked up seat. Okay, movie. No popcorn.
That's the one thing we get a lot of credit for here. Here in the House One at Smodcastle Cinemas, the biggest complaint is about the seats. The people are like, "These seats aren't fucking nice or comfortable or good at all." But these are the seats that like these were the seats when I used to come here as a kid. So I have a real hard time kind of letting it go. We have had like the option to pick up seats from other closing movie theaters. I should have known when other movie theaters are closing. I should have been like, perhaps now's not the time to buy a movie theater. Mercifully, I bought it with a bunch of friends, so we all kind of share the wealth and the burden and stuff. But we've talked about replacing the seats in some of the other theaters, but this one, I feel like I got to keep these seats, man. Like I would hate to, number one, if you bring in those comfy layback seats, we would lose number. I think we have about 230 possible seats here. But there's something wonderfully nostalgic for me, and I'm sure people sitting in the seats are like, "It's not nostalgic for my ass, motherfucker," but having these seats makes all the difference here. There's another theater that we got that has really fucking nice seats, man. Not like the layback seats, but they look like seats like when you play those arcade games and you're driving a car and shit like that. They look like those seats. And they're very low to the floor. That's why I watched Avatar, and the seat was incredibly low to the floor. These are, kind of standard ass seats from the 70s and 80s. I'll be honest with you, maybe even the 60s at this point.
Yeah, these seats were giving me flashbacks because when I went to, I did a marathon. I did a Marvel movie marathon where I saw.
Which theater?
This was at the El Capitan.
Worst fucking seats on the planet.
Yeah. And I was in that theater for 36 hours.
Oof.
It was from Iron Man to Infinity War. And they pretty much showed, I think they skipped 1 or 2 movies. It was 18 movies.
Did they skip Thor 2?
Yes. Mercifully.
Yeah.
And Ant-Man 2. Who gives a shit? But
they skipped Iron Man 2?
Ant-Man 2.
Ant-Man 2.
They made us watch Iron Man 2. Because of that fucking bird. But like I just remember the pain of trying to sleep in those seats and trying to find a way to be comfortable, and also the vapor trails of odors from dudes dressed as Thor and encased in Hulk plastic fucking fake armor.
I imagine the first show, you're like, "Yeah, I'm dressed as Thor," and 4 movies in, you're like, "Why did I dress like Thor?"
Yeah, and it was like catered by Chick-fil-A, and so like a 24-hour Chick-fil-A burn in a bunch of people in a theater who not leaving, like, bro.
Tough.
That smell was high.
We have talked about trying to do that here, but like that's Disney puts out all the Marvel movies, and Disney is like really kind of stingy when you want to do a stingy. They just don't let us do older movies and stuff. Like we showed, I don't know if I should admit this, but we showed Iron Man at one point. And so far they haven't sued us, but they were very like, "You can't do that." I was like, all right. Warner Brothers recently did that when we showed Batman a few months ago, and then we wanted to show Batman Returns, and Warner Brothers was like, absolutely not. I think they're just holding all Michael Keaton Batman until June when The Flash opens up. But they were like, you could show Mask of the Phantasm. And I was like, oh, I know 2 dudes who were in that shit. So we showed it, and it was a wonderful screening here. But we've talked about, like, since we did Clerks Open All Night and showed 3 Clerks movies, doing our version of that Marvel, like, every movie marathon by doing, like, a View Askewniverse marathon, which would be Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Clerks 2, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and then Clerks 3. 8 movies. But I don't know if it's such a weird roller coaster, you know, because like Clerks, yay, Mallrats, yay, Chasing Amy, deeply fucking emotional. Dogma, it makes you question your fucking faith. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back brings your faith back to you. But would you suggest doing it over the course of 1 day or 2 days if we would do something like that? As a man who sat through many movies.
As a man who did it, what do you think the running time is? All in like 12, 13 hours?
8 movies at like,
16?
let's average, well, I was going to say an hour 45, but who can do that fucking math? Let's just say 2 hours a piece, even though most of them are 90 minutes.
So like, let's call it 14 hours. If you start on a Saturday at like 6 p.m., you can probably get to Dogma at Sunday at 12:01. So you go to church.
That's true. It'd be like going to mass. You could skip church that day.
I think you do them all. You do them all you just pick a starting time. 6 p.m. is not so bad. Like you're kind of, so you can endure the emotional heartache of Chasing Amy while you're still awake.
Yes.
You know, and you get Dogma at midnight. You can sort of fucking ride that high, and then you can kind of end it at breakfast the next day. It's not bad.
Idea. Well, I believe I just spoke to Jason Lee. Jason Lee came out like a month and a half ago, and we did Mallrats here with Jason Lee and Jeremy London. And Jason fell in love with the theater. He was like, oh my God, I fucking love this. And the idea of like people filling up and coming to see him and Q&A and stuff. So he was like, let's do it again. So Chasing Amy's anniversary is always in April. That's like when it came out. So we're talking about April 21st doing a Chasing Amy screening here with Jason Lee. In the very near future, we're doing March 31st, I think it is. Brian Quinn is bringing the Impractical Jokers movie here, and we'll do a Q&A after that. I think April 1st, we're doing Bob Hawke's documentary Film Hawk. And then I forget what we're doing on the 2nd. April 20th, 420, of course, I believe we're doing Strike Back and Reboot as a double feature. You know, bring your own weed. And then the Chasing Amy thing would happen on like the Sunday after that, or the Saturday after that. So we'll let you know when that's going to happen. God, what was the thing I wanted to bring up? Vamp for a second. I forgot.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal.
It's pretty fucking good, man.
Right?
Just like that frog.
Michigan J Frog.
The marathon? Yeah, but I was done. But there was something else I wanted to talk about. And now I totally skipped my mind. What's that? The liquor license. I mean, we could talk about that. We're getting a liquor license. And we're done. Yeah, I think it'd be much easier to sit through 8 View Askew movies if you were drunk. But most theaters that, like when I went on the convenience tour from September to December, a lot of them were mom and pop owned. They weren't like part of Cinemark, your best fucking friends and shit. And the two things they said were like, because I was like, I bought a movie theater. They're like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, why? And they're like, you're never going to make money off the movies. And I was like, well, I know you make money off concessions. And they're like, you ain't going to make money off popcorn either. The only way to stay in business is to have a liquor license, number one. And number two, this was a suggestion from the folks at the Rio Theater in Vancouver. They're like, if you want to stay alive, you got to start serving grilled cheese sandwiches. And I was like, really? And they're like, oh my God, get 2 panini presses and offer grilled cheese. It is fucked up how much people love cheese. I was like, is that a Canada thing? They're like, that is worldwide, man. So we have on our menu board like grilled cheese, but we've never done it yet. So I think we got to add a sticker, coming soon. But yes, liquor license will be next. We're taking out, like we've got 5 screens at Smodcastle Cinemas. So we're going to take out one of the screens and turn that into a bar themed like a movie theater. So that'll be a few months before it happens. But oh my God, when that happens, like you charge like $10 for a drink that costs like 75 cents and shit, then I'll be rich, Mark.
Yes. So you're all seeing how we're going to take advantage of you once you get to liquor license.
Yes.
Like, you guys, I'm going to charge you 500% more than this cost me. And you'll love me for it.
The movies that we did this weekend or this week for the Ides of Marc, you can't just show them, right? You got to pay for them and stuff. And so, Streets of Fire. I asked Ernie, I was like, "How much is Streets of Fire?" And he's like, $200. And I was just like, "All right." So we charged $20 a ticket and shit. So at 10 seats, we were already like paid for the print and stuff like that. But it's not just one flat fee. Like if we had sold out the theater, then it's 35% of whatever you make.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's in your best interest to not sell out a theater.
Yes, isn't that weird?
So I should not have been flocking the internet so hard to get people to show up.
No.
Because it's actually less good for you.
Yes, in terms of showing flicks. But in terms of doing this, like we get to keep all this money, man. Like, we don't have to give anything to fucking Universal.
So underachieve for the movies, overachieve for Fat Man.
For the live stuff.
Thank you. I just got to know whether...
The idea here is to like give people an experience, right? Make it experiential. Like you can go see a movie anywhere. You can go see Shazam at Cinemark. You don't have to come here for it. As we fucking heard. Nice commercial, man. Fuck. But like what you can't do at other theaters is like this or Q&A. And like before Ernie was talking about, I was joking like, why did we buy a movie theater? And Ernie was like, because you like to talk. And it's true. It is like having your own kind of private personal stage where you can do not just fun movie things, but then live podcasts as well. So we've been talking about doing this for a red hot minute, and y'all showing up means the absolute world. So thank you for being here tonight, kids. I am fucking exhausted. I got up at 3 a.m. and couldn't fall back asleep, so I worked on a Green Hornet. Me and Mark are working on a Green Hornet cartoon series for the folks at Wild Brain. And
Thwip? Is that the Green Hornet thing? Is that Thwip?
No,
No?
that's the Spider Hornet.
Oh, fuck.
It is the animation isn't like flat 2D animation. It's that Pixar looking shit. So they did a piece of animation for us like a long time ago when we were pitching the series, which is essentially the opening credits. And the idea was we were like, let's do a sequence like, the opening of Batman, the animated series, that just a little vignette about the hero in action. And so when they put it together, it is like spellbindingly fucking good. And then we were like, fuck, now we got to write a good show. And mercifully, Mark agreed to work on it. And then Han and Jenny are our other two writers. And so at 3 a.m. when I couldn't sleep, I got up and worked on episode, what was it, 107? Mm-hmm. Was Han's script. Like I've got the, what was my title?
Story editor?
Story editor. So that means like you get to go over everybody's work and stuff like that. So they hand in a script and you get to kind of add things to it or not, as is the case with Han's stuff is like so incredibly well written. But when I was doing that at 3 a.m, I was like, as soon as I finish this, I'll go back to sleep. But I did not fucking go to sleep, man, because my dog, Shecky, lives upstairs as well with me, and she's 18 years old, and she's blind as fuck, man. Like, she's got a great nose. Like, she'll find me anywhere in this place. And last night when we were doing the show, like Mark was doing Q&A after Streets of Fire, and I had to like let my dog out and stuff, and I took the dog out. She went outside. She always pisses right in front of the movie theater doors. I'm like, come on, man. But then I brought her in, and she was just doing laps while we were doing Q&A. And at one point, somebody was like, your dog's taking a shit. And she sure did. She took a shit in the fucking aisle. So she kept me up, man. She wouldn't go to sleep and whatnot. And so this morning I went hiking in Highlands, which is my hometown where I grew up, and did about 4.5 miles. I got my 10,000 steps in before like 11 o'clock. And then I realized like what a stupid idea, because I'm so fucking tired right now. So I'm glad that you're electric and warm. Because I might just fucking fall asleep during the show. If you see me pass out, kids, it's solely for that reason.
Do we want to talk about some other shit that we've seen? Because we can talk about Last of Us, the finale.
Let's do that. Let's begin with The Last of Us.
Bamf.
Hey!
You know,
it's Banff Man. Everybody, give it up for Banff Man.
I'm gonna throw out there that the other way that you can make money at a movie theater is by doing ads. Maybe we do an ad before. We have a old friend returning.
Oh, we actually have. You're saying we have to do an ad?
We have to do an ad. I'm being not so subtle.
I forgot about that. I was so busy plugging my shit. I forgot about somebody paying for us. That's right, kids. The good folks at ManScaped are our sponsor tonight. Give it up for the good folks at ManScaped. That's why we should have had a laptop. I could have had my fucking copy in front of me, but Mark's got the copy. It's about the weed whacker.
You want to share?
Yeah, we'll fucking do it. First off, if you're at home, kids, right now, and you're following along, to get 20% off and free shipping, just go to, where? Oh, manscaped.com. And enter our code FATMAN20, man. It's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use our code FATMAN20. Always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. This week, the Manscaped folks sent a weed whacker, it's called, 2.0. And I was like, oh, shit, man, this is for cutting ball hair. And because that's generally what Manscaped is all about.
Yeah, and it's a little dangerous when somebody's like, weed whacker for your balls.
Yes.
There's not a deep control element on a weed whacker.
Halfway through using it, because before you can endorse it, you're like, let me see if this works. I was using it on my ball hair, and then I looked at the box, and it's like for ear and nose hair. So I was like, oh shit, and I used them in the proper places, and it fucking really worked, man.
Yeah?
Like, yeah, I got all the hair out of my ears. I'm starting to feel like an old man and shit. I was seeing shit pop out and whatnot, like a grandpa, and went up my nostrils as well. And it didn't cut me or anything. Like, it cut what it was supposed to.
Nice.
Which I guess is like the best endorsement you can give it.
It tore up your balls, but it left your ears.
Don't use the weed whacker on your nuts. But that being said, you've used the shavers on your head, not the weed whacker, but the other shaver.
Correct. I have indeed used both the beard shaver on my beard, and then I've used the regular thing on my head. Especially during the pandemic when I wasn't letting like strange people near my head. I was a do-it-yourself barber. I was a DIY fucking barber guy.
Do it yourself.
Yeah.
Cutting your own shit.
Making my own rhymes.
How often do you work on your nut hair?
Well, it all depends on the day, what my plans are for the night. Put a little fucking quaff grease on that shit and snidely whiplash it and then head out for a night on the town.
Snidely whiplash it. I'm going to read some of their copy because generally they always write good copy. Cue dramatic sounds. This is a public service announcement. Manscaped now has beard products and is going even further with their brand new Weed Whacker 2.0. Go ahead and tell the world the leaders in below the waist grooming are traveling north of your South Pole. That's pretty good.
Wow. It's like Christmas theme.
Yeah, very much so. North of your South Pole with their revolutionary grooming products, the new Weed Whacker 2.0 and their new beard line confirms they have all the best tools for your hygiene toolbox. Time for you to upgrade your game by going to manscaped.com and using our code FATMAN20 for 20% off plus free shipping. So since we've got like 200 people here, jump on your phones. We'll wait. Go buy one. No, I'm kidding. If you're at home, kids, don't forget the good folks at ManScaped sponsoring the show tonight. Always been a wonderful sponsor for us and stuff. And always send free products. Yeah. I have so many fucking shavers. I have more shavers than I'll ever be able to use in a lifetime because they always send me one. And I'm like, I have this already, but I don't want to complain because free is free. Yeah, totally. Look for us to auction those off at the next Fat Man Beyond. Folks at home don't know, but like before the show began, I always like to do, one of my favorite fucking things in the world is to sell shit. Because I used to be a guy who sold shit for other people and whatnot, working a Quick Stop, which is the convenience store from Clerks, which is not very far from here at all. It's about 1.5 miles down the road in Leonardo. So I'm an old school fucking nickel and dime guy. And before the screenings, like since we don't make a lot of money in the film exhibition business, I always like to bring shit up and sell off one of a kind, whatnot. So right before we went, I was like selling shit like fucking for cash and credit cards and stuff. And then we started the show. So sooner or later, I will start selling some Manscaped gear right off this stage, man. But until then, we thank the good folks at Manscaped for being sponsors. Give it up for the good folks at Manscaped. Is that good enough, Banff, man? Can we move on?
Banff. Sounds good to me.
There it is.
Covers our obligations.
There it is.
That's what's important.
Yes. All right. I have not watched a single episode of The Last of Us yet. But I know it's done now, so I can watch the whole fucking thing.
You absolutely can. Has anybody else watched? Are we all caught up? Has everybody seen everything?
Now, this show has become insanely popular for HBO.
It has indeed. I think the finale pulled something like 8.5 million viewers.
Oh my God! And this is one of 186 shows that Pedro Pascal is on. Is that correct?
Yes, it's the one in which he's actually on the set.
Yes. I was watching The Mandalorian today, going like, I know that's not him.
They've actually started putting his doubles in the credits.
Yeah.
Because,
Have they really?
Yeah. Brendan Wayne, who is John Wayne's grandson.
He's the Mandalorian?
He's one of the Mandalorians. He's like the walking around Mandalorian, and then there's a fighting Mandalorian, and then there's the one time that dude's got to take off his mask Mandalorian, and that's Pedro Pascal.
And I guess there's a long tradition of that in Star Wars, and as much as like David Prowse was Darth Vader, but he certainly didn't sound like David Prowse.
Yeah.
You can watch that like section on, there's a little clip online of Darth Vader from Star Wars, but with David Prowse's voice, and he's like, "Come here, princess."
If this is a console shit, where are the ambassadors?
It was a good move getting James Earl Jones. But I did, as I was watching Mandalorian today, I was like, man, what a dream gig it must be for Pedro Pascal. You just walk into a sound studio and you're just like, this is the way, thank you. And then you fucking... Meanwhile, it's John Wayne's grandson?
Yeah.
Running around doing shit? Check him out.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Last of Us, where Pedro actually does show up all the time.
He actually does show up all the time.
You were a big fan of the game.
I was a huge fan of the game. Did anybody else play the game? The TV show and the game have been very kind of in lockstep with the events that happen, with a couple of diversions. There's the Frank and Bill episode, which is phenomenal if you've never seen it, with Noah, what do I want to call him? John Offerman and Nick Offerman. Why did I fuck up that dude's name twice? Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett playing Frank and Bill, who in the game were just kind of like these side characters, one of which you encounter en route to finding some shit. The other one is only kind of referred to. But it becomes this very heartbreaking, wonderful standalone episode about just two guys falling in love in the middle of the end of the world. And
for those of us that don't watch the show, it's about...
It's about a zombie apocalypse, ultimately, except in this show...
Another fucking show about that?
Yes, indeed. But in this show, the zombies are not... it's not a viral thing. It's a fungal pandemic. Basically, they're like giant mushrooms that want to eat people.
Are they the clickers in question?
Yes,
That's
indeed.
what they call them, clickers?
Yes. The technical term is cordyceps, which is the kind of fungal infection that fucks with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, functionally, it's a zombie show. It's the same thing.
Right.
But at least it's got a little different spin on it. And so it's basically, it's a lone wolf and cub story. It's, Joel Miller, played by Pedro Pascal, is a guy who lost his daughter on the day the fucking world ended and has been haunted by that for the next 20 years of his life. And Ellie is a young woman who was kind of brought up in the system, who happens to be, spoilers, immune to this particular strain of zombie.
And why spoilers? They didn't reveal that until...
I mean, if you haven't seen the show, I don't want to tell you some shit you didn't want to know, but they kind of keep that a little bit of a secret for a beat and a half. It's
Right.
like for the first episode, you kind of...
Is he immune as well?
Nobody but her is. Yeah. That's why she's special.
Right.
So special.
And he's got to protect her for that.
He's got to
reason.
protect her. His
For
whole
what
job,
reason? To get her to a place to cure everybody or not?
right, to get her from one place, currently the Boston DMZ, quarantine zone, all the way to the Fireflies, which is this kind of rebel organization in the show, who have a hospital somewhere west of the Rockies that might be able to synthesize a cure for everybody if he can deliver her there.
And you say everybody, who's left? Is there a large population left or not?
I mean, there's more people than you'd think, kind of clustered in pockets. The big cities still have people. There are places, there's a spot in Jackson, Wyoming that seems to be a thoroughly functioning civilization where they have plumbing and they have hot water and they have food that they grow and not much of a zombie problem at all. Like there's places that you can go that it's not so bad, and there are big cities, which is kind of awful. And so the game is very much a story about Joel, who wants nothing to do with Ellie because she reminds him too much of his dead daughter, coming to ultimately accept her as the surrogate daughter that has now gone. And she begins to rely on him as the father who she'd never had. She's only ever known people who would eventually leave her or send her away. And so there's this lovely bond that forms between those two characters over the course of like 25 hours of playing that game. And there's action shit and running and jumping and stabbing of zombies and resource management and all the stuff that happens in a game like that. But ultimately, it's a story of a broken man who learns to become a father, who then reluctantly becomes a hero by the end of the game. And that's why I was so invested in the show, because I knew where it was going.
Right.
Because the end of that game broke me in like a dozen different ways. And the reason why is, and we're all going to talk about it here because we've all seen it, and now it's almost a week after the finale. And so when Joel finally delivers Ellie to the Firefly HQ, they say, okay, we can synthesize this cure from her brain matter, but we're going to have to kill her to do it.
Oh shit.
And so,
and you knew that from playing the game?
I knew that from playing the game. And the way that sort of unspools in the game is like, yeah, he brings her there, he's super happy, and then everything's great, thanks Joel, you did the thing. And then they tell him that she's gonna die. And then you as the player are forced to rescue Ellie, because the hero in Joel should want to save everybody, right? Like that's the thing. The hero wants to save the most people for the most reason.
Tracks.
But Joel is not a hero at that point. Joel is a dad. And a dad is never going to choose the good of the many. They're only ever going to choose the good of the one.
Mm.
And so Joel goes on this fucking hell-bent for leather mission and like kills everybody in this hospital to get to where Ellie is being operated on, and then kills the doctor who's about to operate her, and then rescues her out of it, thereby dooming the rest of mankind to this ongoing epidemic.
And that was the end of the game.
The end of the game. And you can't not do it. Like
you can't choose to be like, she'll be fine.
You're right, I get it. It's fine. There's plenty of little girls out there. I can take another daughter.
I would just go all John Barenthal and be like, you can't protect a Rick, and move on and shit. Credits.
But what
so you have to. You have no choice.
to.
What kind of fucking game is this? I thought the game is about choices and shit.
Sometimes it is, but like most games, at least most story-based games, are about a story that the storytellers want to tell. But what it does is it makes you complicit in that action. It makes you responsible for what you've done. And I've never really played a game that made me feel that way. And then it becomes about, does he tell Ellie what he did? Does he tell her that he rescued her and then dooms the rest of mankind to the world that she's, the only world she's ever known? And so he lies to her because
that's a thing you do in the game, like XY lie or something like that?
At that point, you're watching a cutscene.
What is the gameplay? Just shooting zombies?
There's a lot of shooting of zombies.
Or shooting doctors as well?
Yeah, there's some shooting of people, because there's a lot about like the other people alive during this hellscape are like just dudes who want your shit. And so you're both trying to survive, and it's Walking Dead. Every zombie story is that way. There's the zombies and there's people who survive the zombies, and which one of them is actually more dangerous?
Sometimes they're in a mall like Dawn of the Dead.
Sometimes they're in a mall. And so the game very much makes you complicit. A TV show can't do that. A TV show can only portray a story for you.
Right.
So you're just watching Joel become the Punisher by the end of this thing, which there's some joy to be taken for sure, but you lose the feeling that you lose the responsibility that you had as a game player for that particular part of the story. And my issue, like I liked the show. I didn't love the show. And my only issue was that it was 9 episodes long. And at least 3 of those episodes are not about Joel and Ellie. It's not about welding these two characters together. So you understand why Joel does what he does at the end. We spend an episode falling in love with Frank and Bill, only for them to die. We spend an episode falling in love with...
Frank and Bill die?
Yeah. Of old age.
Spoiler. Oh, of old age.
Yeah, like one dude, he's got a terminal condition, but there's no zombies that kill them. It's just he's getting sick, and I love you, and so we're both going to drink this bottle of wine that has drugs in it that's going to kill us, and we'll have one last great day as husband and husband.
So they don't die, they commit suicide.
Well, that's also dying, though.
Good point.
But it's actually like sweet and romantic and kind of gorgeous. But there's a couple of episodes that are very standalone-y and tell stories of other people who have relationships, which are great episodes, but it doesn't do the thing of welding those two characters together. And there's another lovely episode called Left Behind, based on a downloadable content chapter of the game that tells of Ellie's first kiss of her best friend. And Ellie is gay in the games and always has been and always will be. And so it's in a mall where these two characters just kind of fucking flirt and hang out and have a good time and like ride on a fucking carousel and play video games until the zombie bites, Ellie's best friend. And that's how Ellie discovers that she is immune because her friend is not. And so they both get bitten, but only her friend turns. And like, it's a lovely story, but it doesn't do the job of telling me why Joel is going to kill everybody in a hospital to save that girl. And so that is my only quibble with the show, and that is my only real quibble by the end of it, is that I wanted to love them together, and instead I love them separately, and that's a choice that the show made, and it's executed very well. But that was just, I felt a little hollow at the end. It's like, oh well, hey, dude, that's a lot.
Which is weird because you'd imagine like a TV drama would like pull you in more than a video game, and yet still you felt more emotional about the game.
I did.
I felt the same way about Activision's Pitfall in the 80s.
You know? Because it's once you got to like the 3 crocodiles to the head you had to jump on.
Well, when that scorpion popped up, fuck.
But yeah, that was my takeaway. Like I very much dug it. I bet you that show's going to win like a handful of Emmys. But it didn't. It's like an A- for me. Like it's still very good, but it didn't ascend to the same heights that the game did for me. But I see where they go for season 2 and probably season 3.
Well, that's my question. It sounds like if they followed the game closely, like, is there another game?
Yes.
So there's more than one game. So
Last of Us Part 2.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And so that's what season 2 is going to be?
See, the Last of Us Part 2.
What a fucking easy job this is and shit. Why am I bothering creating new shit when I could just get a video game and be like, let's just follow this?
Yeah, just do what we did.
Yeah.
But a little different. But I'm looking forward to it because I like feeling bad about myself. And so, like, and those games are not fucking like Good Time Charlie video games. Like,
is that right?
It is fucking bleak, emotionally and physically.
So you're like,
why do you make me hurt so much? I love it when you make me hurt.
Is this the first video game, movie, media, TV show that's ever worked based on a video game?
I mean, listen, fucking Super Mario Brothers is going to be great.
He said convincingly.
You know, like the problem with most of those things is that they try to replicate the game,
Right.
which you can't do. I think like Resident Evil is actually a pretty decent adaptation because it then just becomes a horror thing. Like, what are you taking from the game? Oh, well, it's fucking Umbrella Corp that created fucking zombies, and now you got this character who's got to kill fucking zombies. That's cool. We can do 9 of these movies, and they did. And, you know, they're all of varying degrees of success. I mean, they're all better than Street Fighter, which is awful. But, I mean, it's
What
also...
about Mortal Kombat? Oh, that's the thing. It's like the rest of the movie could suck because they had the theme song.
They have the theme song.
Just
And
get
there's
you
some dude
hyped.
just goes, fatality.
Finish him.
Liu Kang wins.
My God, you could be the voice.
Tell them. The world. Give me that fucking cheddar. But yeah, like that was my takeaway. Like I appreciated it. It's so fucking well done and so expertly realized, but it just got a little bit of emotional hollowness at the center of it for me. How did you guys feel? Did you like? Did you dislike? Loved?
How many people hated The Last of Us? Look at that. That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
No.
I mean, that dude didn't respond. I think he just fucking hated it and won't say anything.
It's like, I ain't saying shit, but man, fuck those cutscenes.
You want to talk about Mando?
Yeah, moving on, man. We'll talk about Mandalorian. How many people have been up to date with The Mandalorian, new season 3? They've released 3 episodes so far.
Yes.
The first episode felt like a kind of like, hey, we're back, and this is the story. And it didn't feel like a lot happened in it other than him taking shit for taking his helmet off.
Right, and also him being like, I need a droid. That droid. The broken one? Yeah. Let me fix it. Oh shit, it's trying to kill me. Maybe I shouldn't have this droid, but I need that droid. Why do you need that droid? For reasons. Okay, I guess I gotta go get parts for this droid. Okay, it's basically like giving him the needs list to go to Space Radio Shack to buy parts for the droid. They just gotta put back together, and then in episode 2, completely abandoned. Where he's just like, I gotta get this thing for an IG droid. We don't have it. Nobody can get it. How about this shitty droid in the quarter? All right. So we didn't need that at all? No, any droid will do, it turns out.
Was that 2 or 3?
That
was 2. That was where
2.
he gets R5D4.
Right.
Who they turn into like at one point Amy Sedaris calls him Frady droid.
Frady droid. And all to like Listen, I didn't like the first 2 episodes much, but
You didn't dig the first 2 episodes?
because it was a list of shit that he had to do that he just abandoned the minute a different thing came along.
Right.
And then he gets the droid. Why do we need the droid? Droid's got to do readings for me when we get to fucking Mandalore.
I was excited when he was like, "We're bringing back IG-88," and what was his name? IG-11.
Yeah.
I guess. And he had the statue like honoring him that was made of him.
Yep.
And then when I was like, "Oh shit, this would be cool," because I did like that character. It's one of the greatest episodes of Mandalorian where he fucking smokes everybody coming in. He's like, "I'm a nurse." But then it was a turn I didn't see coming when he was still like he reverted to his original programming. And
Right.
stuff.
But then when they get R5D4 to go and do like fucking readings and shit from Mandalore, R5 doesn't do that shit.
No.
And so fucking Mando's just like, all right, I guess I'll seal my helmet and walk out there myself. So, well, you could have done that the whole fucking time. Like you
Because he's going to the actual Mandalore planet,
Right.
because he wants to bathe in the
living
waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Precisely. Yeah. And then which he goes and gets fucking like everybody's got to save Mando in episode 2. Where it's like, oh, I'm gonna walk down here and fucking come with me, Grogu, it'll be fine. And then he gets fucking beset by the weird ass spider mechanized droid thing.
Yeah.
Go get help, Lassie.
Which I thought was
Tell him I'm down the well.
I thought it was cool. I liked the design of that droid with the one human eye inside and stuff. The things that I didn't like, I was like, man, they went cheap on that. Were the things that were coming through the ceiling that were trying to eat
baby
them.
dragon things.
Not the baby dragon things, the things that look like people in bad costumes.
Oh right, like the Star Trek aliens from classic.
Very much so. I thought they looked like slee stacks from Land of the Lost and shit. And I was like, they must have run out of money at that point. Doesn't look like any Star Wars thing. Normally, like you'll see background characters or foreground characters that look like, hey, that's Bosk. Hey, that's this, that's that. That one looked like a brand new design. It looked like they ran out of money.
Bamf.
Yeah.
Oh, look who's here. It's Bam Bam. What do you got, kid?
I think it was a callback to the Time Machine and the future
Warlock?
aliens in the Time Machine. It, in a similar way in like Book of Boba Fett, how they called back to the like 4-armed Goro Harryhausen monster. I think it was like a callback to that early sci-fi Time Machine.
It seemed like a callback to a cheaper era. It's what it felt like. Everything else, especially because that robot looks so fucking badass and shit.
It's like, hey guys, we got like 9 spools of carpet out back. What should we do with it? I know. Let's make aliens.
Yeah.
And I also like. So the plot of the episode is we got to go to the fucking mines of Mandalore. We got to go see fucking Bo-Katan lounging on a kick-ass throne. And then Mando's going to do the thing where he goes down there and gets caught. Then Grogu gets back up, gets Bo-Katan, and she's going to do the exact fucking thing. We're just watching like another person play this level of this game. And like go down, save Mando, who's like stuck in a fucking trap.
He did bust out the Darksaber, which I thought was badass.
He did, and still get caught in it.
Yeah.
You're not good at this. And so then he's like, thank you, Bo-Katan, for saving me. Let's go find the waters. And so they go down to the waters. He takes one fucking step off the shelf and into the well's too deep for Mando. And so Bo-Katan says, oh, fuck, I guess I got to save him again.
Is that what it was? Like he just literally like went into the deep end? It wasn't he got pulled down or anything
Nope.
like that?
He was just like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, what?
And then Sheaf like dives in.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool as fuck. They showed it like that outfit underwater.
It's super cool. But he's like, Virgil Brigman back on the air because he went that fucking far down and sees a...
Yes. You and I both like enjoyed the fuck out of that.
One dude likes the abyss too. Right, like all the bombings.
What you can't hear at home is somebody in the audience talking. And say it again so I can relate it to them. It was Bo-Katan said what? Because of the explosions that happened on top. The floor that they walked on caved in.
The TIE bombers who fucking destroyed the surface of Mandalore and apparently rendered it unbreathable and inoperable, but it's totally fine.
And then underwater, they saw the mythosaur.
Right.
At one point.
Potentially alive. It looked like it was alive.
And the mythosaur is meant to be is that the cartoon animal, that dinosaur that Boba Fett was riding in the Star Wars cartoon? And no?
That I know, I don't.
Banff Man? Shh the fuck up, man!
Bamf. It is. It's not the same. It is not the same.
Not the same.
Alien. Yeah.
All right, fuck off. You're done.
But the mythosaur is this. It's the skull that has become the totem for the Mandalorians, because that apparently is their holy
That's their
beast.
symbol.
Right.
Why couldn't it have been the big dinosaur that the cartoon Boba Fett hits? And he's like, "Shut up, you!" And hits his head.
You should have called him. Yo, Fabs, why don't you give me the solids?
Yeah. The one person they're never going to call for a Star Wars show is the guy that was just like, "Those Death Star contractors, man." Blah blah blah.
Except that's what fucking Andor is ultimately.
Yeah.
It's like it's all that conversation.
I saw Tony Gilroy actually said, he was like, "Remember that conversation in Clerks?" And I was like, I feel so seen. Star Wars influenced me, and then inadvertently I influenced fucking Star Wars.
It's a causal loop.
Yeah.
And episode 3 of Mando
That I fucking love. I mean, look, I like the first 2 episodes, but the third one was a real big departure because it looked like it opens with like, "Hey, previously on Mando," like the shit that just happened, and then they fuck off, and then it just becomes a show about the one Imperial guy who was in the first season.
Right, the doctor who was working on cloning,
Dr.
Pershing, who wanted Grogu's blood to recreate something that we never knew.
Just cure the clickers from The Last of Us.
Absolutely. And so it then becomes like, it's very much like a, hey, we could do Andor shit too on Mandalorian, can't we? I guess so. So here's 25, 30 minutes of just this little story about this guy being repatriated back into the New Republic Society, the
Amnesty Project or something
Right.
like that. The idea is these are Imperials that with the New Republic, they were like, well, just because you were a part of it doesn't mean you were necessarily bad. So we're going to put you into this program and make you New Republic citizens.
Yes, sort of recondition the Empire out of you and make you, rehabilitate you back into
It's a
society.
very cool idea.
Super cool idea. And so basically it's a story about entrapment, where young Dr. Pershing is like meets this young woman who was also, I think, on Moff Gideon's ship.
Yeah,
right? She was
from
on Moff Gideon,
season 1 or 2.
season 2, I think, where she was a Gideon flunky. And
I saw she was on the previously. They showed her. I was like, I remember her.
yeah, kinda. And maybe, I suppose.
I think she was on the show. I forgot because Luke Skywalker showed up.
Right. So she's just tempting him to be like, don't you want to do what you used to do? Couldn't that be a good thing for the New Republic? Like, I did cloning and nobody wants cloning. But you could be happy. You could contribute. You could do this stuff. So she's kind of fucking honey trapping him into stealing some shit from an old Imperial ship. And she's the one who not even like drops dime on him. She's part of a program to suss out unfaithful amnesty people who are now going to act against the New Republic.
Is that what you got from it? Like she's working for the New Republic?
She's like 21 Jump Street for real. Like she's like, I'm gonna go into this high school, I'm gonna sell that kid some weed, and then I'm gonna fucking tell her he's the kid I bought the weed from. He's gonna bring me to his dealer, right? Yes, no, maybe so, not sure.
I didn't get that. I thought maybe she was just like still Imperial, or still kind of like fuck this guy because he fucked us over. But I didn't. Your take on it was she works for the New Republic?
100%.
Is that
Because when the cops show up, she just literally like stands from next to him to next to the New Republic guys. Like, he's your man.
I didn't get that. I'm so not smart.
Yeah. What's up, Ernie? Ernie needs 1 second.
Hey, is there Mike Baker in the audience? Mike Baker? Head out to the lobby real quick. We got something going on that requires your attention.
Can you fly a plane?
Everything went so fucking quiet. Okay, back to
back to Mando. So like I dug it, but I don't know. It's like fucking Mando is such a weird show in that sometimes they will tell you stories that are very crucial to the Mandalorian narrative in other TV shows. Like there's 2 episodes of Boba Fett that have nothing to do with Boba Fett,
right,
that are entirely about fucking Mando and Grogu and Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano, and do not connect at all with the Boba Fett story. It's like, fuck it, let's just bury it in this show.
Wait, which show did Luke show up on?
He shows up in season 2 finale of Mando.
That was where he like fucking.
That's when he destroys everybody.
One of the greatest scenes in Star Wars history.
Absolutely.
But what was the? Oh, it was when we catch up with him and he's training Grogu.
Right.
That was on Boba Fett.
Yeah. And so it's like Mando's got the Darksaber, wants to get back into the fucking hood with the other Mandos. And it's like, well, you gotta did you take your helmet off? Like, yeah. Well, you gotta purify yourself in the waters of Lake Mandaluria. And And she's like, yeah, but make this fucking armor. I shouldn't have a Beskar spear because that's not a weapon of a fucking Mando. Make my little tiny cute armor for my little baby buddy. Can you make me somebody, please? And so she's like, fuck it, I will make this giant spear into the cutest little bit of armor that you've ever seen.
Which he hasn't worn yet, has he?
He did. He wears it in the end of
In Boba Fett.
In Boba Fett. Because it's under his clothes. It's very fucking Hobbit mythical.
So is he always wearing it? Is that the idea?
I guess. I don't know if fucking Grogu's ever take off their clothes.
That's what I'm waiting for. Yes. Oh, let me see that Yoda dick. I enjoyed that part of the
On
episode.
the glass, put them.
What was it, 2, where like he has to go get Bo-Katan and he runs and jumps into the ship and he just points to the screen.
Yeah.
And R5 is just like,
Boys,
I guess, all right, we'll go there. Which is what a stretch, man. Like you're an astromech droid and you're trained to like do your gig, and then like this little creature comes in, doesn't tell you what to do, just points at a screen, and you're like, should I listen to him or the other guy who won't take off his helmet? Like, fuck both of these people.
But like I dug it, but it's a weird digression. Unless what's going to happen is Dr. Pershing is going to be the dude who eventually reclones Palpatine. Like that's how Palpatine somehow returns.
Is that? That's just a guess.
That's just a guess.
I love your version of Star Wars. That would be cool. That'd be a way to like retcon it and make it kind of badass.
I mean, it seems like
It looked like they fried
Bamf.
his fucking brain. Oh, Bamf man.
Yes.
I will also jump in and say the next Disney Plus series coming up is Ahsoka, in which Grand Admiral Thrawn is known to play a big role, and Grand Admiral Thrawn's whole thing in the books was cloning. So it could also tie into everything we're about to find out in the Ahsoka series. If Dave Filoni, who created Ahsoka and is a proud lover of the expanded universe, actually goes that direction, which I would bet on.
Proud lover, eh?
Also, did you guys see online that in episode 1, that shard of kryptonite or whatever that has the inscription on it in Mando, the green rock, that was translated, and it is from a Bible verse in Book of Exodus, part of Exodus 10:5-6, about the plague of locusts and the Jews fleeing Egypt. And a lot of people are drawing parallels between the Mandalorian and the Jewish faith and his journey through to what, Old Testament type stuff, which is really super interesting. I'm not going to speak on it because I'm ignorant.
Also, I don't know that a guy named Raifenberg should be talking about the Jewish faith. But good fucking looking out, man. Fucking give it up for Banff, man. Always fucking way more Star Wars than the rest of us.
I was hoping it was going to be some fucking Ezekiel shit, like the path of the righteous is beset upon.
Yeah, he's like, we translated it. It's from Pulp Fiction.
So yeah, I mean, listen, I remain a person who's going to watch The Mandalorian. I'm just constantly puzzled by some of the storytelling choices, even if like, oh, it's cool. Just why is this in this show? Like, if that's going to be that segment that leads into fucking the Ahsoka show, why is it in the Ahsoka show? What, like, and I get the trying to build a universe that is all cohesive and all kind of webbed together. At the same token, like, there are just some people who want to watch Mando and like did not want to have to, because I remember showing my wife was like, I want to watch Mandalorian season 3. Okay, first we got to watch these 3 episodes of fucking Boba Fett. Like, why? I don't know, but you do. And so we did, and I'm like, why are these fucking here?
I'm going to make one more play for the fact that who's the Imperial, what's her, anybody know the characters? Banff, man, what's the name of the character that was the double agent, the 21 Jump Street?
Banff. I have not seen all of episode 3 yet. I fell asleep because I was watching Last of Us. What? Yeah.
Tell him why you fell asleep. He's working real hard, man. Tell him why.
I was at South by Southwest all week, and then Jen went to Portland for a little mini mom vacation, and so I was taking care of the kid, and I had to choose between binge watching The Last of Us, the last 4 episodes of that before the show, or Mandalorian. and I decided to.
Star Wars lost to the guy with the Star Wars bar. Sorry, not Star Wars
Space
bar.
themed
Space
Theme bar. I mean, it's kind of the same show in a way. I just wanted to see Pedro Pascal's face.
Literally, they share the same star. Yeah. I'm gonna make a play though for in episode 3, like that character talks about like going to the decommissioned Imperial ships, and that's where she got like fucking
Cookies that he likes.
Yeah, fucking Belvita, fucking Imperial biscuits and shit. And so at the end of the episode, because that's the other thing, I don't think she works for the New Republic, or she's like pretending she works for the New Republic. What my read of it was, she was still deeply Imperial, because the One Republic guy walks away, and then she dials up Dr. Pershing's thing to fry his brain, and then eats one of those Imperial biscuits, which I got her to. I took it to mean that like, oh, I'm Imperial all the way.
See, I don't think that either. Those don't have to be mutually exclusive.
True.
I think she could still be a New Republic stooge who is still secretly loyal to the Empire.
Yeah. But I think more Imperial than New Republic, like just playing it low key until the rise of the Empire again. That's what I read from it. It was just like, oh, I'm Imperial all the way. I'm eating these fucking biscuits. These are the same biscuits Darth Vader would have eaten if he ever took his fucking mask off and shit. Is that it all for Mandalorian?
That's all for Mandalorian.
Give it up for the Mandalorian chat, kids.
I do have a little bit of Star Wars news, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's my personal Star Wars news. I wrote a Star Wars comic book.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
For Dark Horse or
for Marvel?
For Marvel?
Yeah, they reached out and they have this Darth Vader black, white, and red miniseries that they're doing, and they're like, "Do you want to write a Darth Vader story?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to write a Darth Vader story," and so it's coming out in June, I think. But the solicits went out last week, so I don't have to keep a secret anymore.
Look at that shit, man.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It is the closest I've come to having my name in that blue type on a black starfield.
There are 2 hosts of Fat Man Beyond, and one of them has been talking about Star Wars in his movies for 30 fucking years. And they're like, let's ask the other guy to write a comic book. Mark is also a comic book writer, and that's what we should point out, too. If you're in the New Jersey area, the metropolitan area, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, or anywhere on the East Coast, tomorrow, Saturday, Mark is going to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, and he's signing Adora in the Distance, his book that he wrote, as well as anything else you put in front of him and stuff. So come on out, man. That's free as fuck. It's from noon till when?
Noon to 3.
It's noon till 3 tomorrow, Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. How many people in the audience are going to that?
Then I'll see you all tomorrow.
Yes.
Fucking leave now.
Holy shit, man. So, like, will it be considered canon?
I think so.
Really?
I think so.
So there's a chance that one day down the road, like, they'll rip your shit off for a Mandalorian or something like that.
All I want is one character who's got a name to be in something else.
That happened to me this week, oddly enough. There's a show, Superman and Lois.
Mm-hmm.
On the show, they included the character of Onomatopoeia that me and Phil Hester created for that in Green Arrow and rolled it into Batman. And I don't know if it's necessarily the same exact version. It may be a gender swapped version, and it also looks like it was a weird flex to bring into the Superman universe, because my version of that character was just a serial killer who just spoke in onomatopoetics, would just say blam and then shoot you in the face and stuff. It looks like they're using the character as more superpowered, and it's an oral thing, A-U-R-A-L. But it was crazy to fucking see that in the episode. I was just watching the episode, and all of a sudden I was like, what the fuck? So
where's my check?
Instantly, that's the fucking first thing I thought. I was like, oh my God, I'm finally going to be rich. And I reached out to Phil Hester, and I was like, hey man, fucking onomatopoeia is on fucking Superman and Lois. We could fucking retire. Isn't there a form? Because there's a form that you got to fill out and send in. I think it's for both DC and Marvel, that whenever they use like a character that you've created for the comics in other media, you get a piece of like the character for all time if they make merchandise or anything like that. So I was like, Phil, we're going to be rich. And Phil goes, I had 2 characters on Arrow for years and I never made, he goes, I made $65. So but that 65 is going to be the sweetest money I ever spent, man. But it looks like the character is going to be ongoing, which is kind of cool. And it was cool to see like they did a version of the mask, which looked like the fucking mask and stuff. It was kind of dope. All right, where do we want to go next?
Let's see.
Time for news?
We could do news. We can talk about.
Look at you. You wrote shit down. Well done.
Yeah, man.
Prepared.
And everything. Have you seen any of History of the World Part 2 yet?
No. I saw, of course, History of the World Part 1 in this theater when I was a kid. My parents brought me to it and stuff and fucking like had a hard time explaining the erection joke. With the eunuchs and whatnot. First, they had to explain eunuchs, and then they had to explain why one of the eunuchs got hard.
Oh,
then they
fun
had to
times
explain.
at the Smith House.
Oh my God, absolutely. But they did sequelize it recently, and it's on Hulu. Is that
It's
it?
on Hulu. I think it's like 10 episodes long.
Is Mel Brooks involved?
He is apparently. He introduces every episode, and he's the kind of the voiceover artist who introduces each segment. And it's rapid fire. They do not spend much time at all in anything. So it's like, hey, we're gonna do Noah for 5 minutes. And then now we're going to do this World War II story. And now we're going to do fucking the dude who invents the phone. And now we're going to do, it churns. And like, not everything is funny, but if they throw enough shit at you, like half of it is, and if it comes at you fast enough, feels pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
Are you really having a good time with it?
I'm having a good time with it because it's dumb shit done well. And the cast is ridiculous. Like, because
who do they got?
I mean, Seth Rogen is playing fucking Noah. Like,
oh, shit.
Quinta Brunson is in it. Who else did I say? I mean, Nick Kroll is the kind of the dude who's kind of masterminding it. So he's in like every third sketch.
Mastermind, meaning he's one of the writers?
He's one of the writers, executive producers, showrunners of it.
That's crazy. So do you think it came down to him going like, I've always wanted to see part 2?
I think some of it was Mel, and I think some of it was Nick. And Ike Barinholtz also apparently is like one of those guys. And Wanda Sykes. I think they're the 3 who were the ones who were like, let's fucking do this. And Mel was like, yeah, let's fucking do this.
How many episodes?
I think it's 10.
And how many have you seen so far?
I've seen 4.
And worth watching?
Yeah, because it goes down super fucking easy.
How long are each episode?
28 minutes.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Yeah, man. It's good times.
There it is, man. A show worth checking out. History of the World Part 2. That only took fucking 40 years.
Sure, Part 3 will come 30 years later.
Yes. That means there's hope for like Buckaroo Banzai versus the World Crime Syndicate.
You tell me, sir, if there's hope.
Not on my watch. What else you got?
Should we do some news?
Fuck yeah, man. We're about to jump into the news, kids. Marc Bernardin, before he was writing fucking Star Wars comics and shit, was an old news hound, man. He came from the world of news. Entertainment Weekly, The Hollywood Reporter, Playboy. Yeah, a lot of news in that magazine, I'm told. But every once in a while, those journalistic instincts kick in. And so now is one of those times. Here now with the news is Marc Bernardin. Give it up for Marc.
In what might have been the worst kept secret in Hollywood, James Gunn is directing his Superman movie.
That came out this week.
There had been a leak. I think like Tom King went on some podcast and mentioned that James was directing it, and then that episode of the podcast went down. Warner Brothers scrubbed it from the internet, only for James to come out like 4 days later and be like, yeah, all right, I'm directing Superman.
It's called Superman Legacy.
Superman Legacy coming out July 11th, 2025.
He put up a tweet that I saw that was really kind of sentimental as fuck. Where what is it? What's the date?
It's July 11th, 2025.
And his brother wrote to him and said,
"Yeah,
that's."
My brother Matt said when he saw the release date. This is just I copied and pasted from his tweet. It's like, dude, when he saw the release date, he started to cry, and I asked him why. He said, "Dude, that's Dad's birthday."
Oh,
I hadn't
that's
realized.
Awesome.
It's been a long road to this point. I was offered Superman years ago. I initially said no because I didn't have a way in that felt unique and fun, and emotionally gave Superman the dignity he deserved. Then a bit less than a year ago, I saw a way in many ways centering around his Superman's heritage, how both his aristocratic Kryptonian parents and his Kansas farmer parents inform who he is and the choices he makes. So I chose to finally take on writing the script, but I was hesitant to direct, despite the constant pestering by Peter Safran and others to commit. Just because I write something doesn't mean that I feel it in my bones, visually and emotionally, enough to spend over 2 years directing it, especially not something of this magnitude. But the long and the short of it is, I love this script, and I'm incredibly excited as we begin this journey.
Good for him, man. I mean, James is crazy fucking talented. Definitely one of the best of us. Certainly not the last of us. But that's really fucking sweet, man. You know, James is known for like weirder stuff, and to see him taking on an American icon, I'm curious to see what he does with it. Is there any word? Like I heard that it's not Clark Kent. It may be Jonathan Kent. Did you hear that, or is that a dream I had?
It might be a dream you had.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
Counts as news on the internet.
a dream that I had.
Silent Bob had a dream.
But yeah, I mean, all that they've said about this Superman is that he's a younger Superman, probably in his 20s, as opposed to an older one in his 40s, which is part of what precipitated the casting of Henry Cavill, the recasting
of Henry Cavill.
But that's fucking exciting. You're right. He's an extraordinarily talented filmmaker, and I think he knows the mission brief, which is you got to make a fucking Superman. You're not going to make like dick joke Superman. You got to make fucking Superman,
right?
And what that means in this day and age. And so, like, I'm fucking curious, man.
If there's a job opening for dick joke Superman, I would really love to throw my hat into the ring. That's awesome. I can't wait to see. I mean, look, they're doing a wonderful version of Superman with Superman and Lois, and I say that because they included onomatopoeia. But it'll be nice to see Superman back on the big screen. I loved what Henry Cavill did when they dropped that Flash trailer, I guess during the Super Bowl, and they showed the Zod. I was like, holy fuck, man. Like, for some reason I knew, like, I'd read Michael Shannon was in it, but then when I saw him in the trailer, I was like, this is fucking genius. And it made me go back and watch Man of Steel again. And I really had like, I appreciated it the first time around, but a newfound appreciation for what he did with the character. But I'm an old school Superman fan. I love Batman to death, but Batman is like a child's wish, right? Like, and also the realistic superhero that we could all aspire to be, because he doesn't have superpowers or anything. You just have to watch your parents die in an alleyway and then have a lot of money, and you could be Batman and stuff. But Superman,
and refuse therapy at every turn.
Exactly. Like, you sure you don't want to see a therapist? No.
That voice is interesting for a 12-year-old.
Yes. Superman, though, of course, like the very first superhero, always stands for something bigger and better. It's the thing you could never be, the ideal. Within the last 6 months, at one point, like, I was defending actions that I took with Jordan, who runs our company, Jason Muse's wife, Jordan Monsanto. And I was like, well, I can't just like do nothing, man, because like Superman, that's what he does. He wouldn't sit there and listen. She was saying, like, you can't just sit with somebody's pain. She's like, you and Jason are the exact same, Jason Muse. And she was like, and I said, well, we both came from Highlands. It must be in the water. And she goes, neither of you could sit with someone's pain. Like, you feel the need to do something. She's like, in Jason's case, they got an 8-year-old daughter, Logan. And whenever Logan cries about something, Jason will turn the world upside down to stop her from crying. He'll do fucking anything. And she's like, if you would just wait 5 minutes, she's 8. Like, 5 minutes from now, it won't bother her, whatever fucking bothers her. And she's like, you're the exact same way. And I was like, no, man. Well, I was like fucking, do you think Superman would sit there with somebody's pain? Of course, like, he would want to help and do something. And she's like, Kevin, Superman's not real. Like, that's what makes him so wonderful as a character, is he's an ideal we'll never reach for and stuff. So I look forward to see what James does with that character. Think of all the heart that he brought to the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, which when first announced, it was just like, they're doing that, Marvel's over and shit. And yet he found a way to bring incredible heart to those first 2 movies. And it looks like, from the trailer for the third one, even more heart to the fucking third episode. So I can't wait to see what he does with Superman. Pun intended, he will make Superman soar. I have utmost confidence in that.
Will I believe the man can fly?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we will. That was a great marketing campaign, man. Like, that, can you imagine, like, there was a simpler time in 78 was when Superman came out, where that was they built the whole marketing campaign and said, you will believe a man can fly, based on the fact that their flying effects were going to look cool. And now today, of course, the standard's much higher. James won't get away with, like, you will believe a man can fly. Like, I believe that shit on CW, fucking bring something more to the table. But I'm sure he'll bring something more to the table. But what a weird life it must be, like, as Guardians of the Galaxy is preparing to come out, to still be like, yeah, I got to wrap up my Marvel life before I start this whole DC life. And I'm sure, there's no, like, with the audience and fans and whatnot, it must be, fucking an inner struggle, a combat between the two. I don't think so at all. I think this is a guy who just loves fucking comic books and stuff. So he's wrapping up his tenure in one universe and then starting another. I look forward to see what he does with Superman.
Yeah, I mean, most comic book fans, at least the ones that I know today, are not. They're somewhat agnostic about where the comics come from. You know, there had been some allegiance back in the days. You Marvel, you DC, so you fucking Beatles and Rolling Stones, but not so much anymore.
No.
Like, it's just, do you like comics? Yeah. Do you like good comics? Sometimes. Like, then all right, you can come sit by me. That's fine.
I like that.
Elsewhere,
Yes.
did anybody like the Willow show that was on Disney Plus? Anybody see the Willow show that was on Disney Plus? You loved it? Well, you're not getting any more.
Is that right? They're not doing it again?
No.
Was it a one and done series, or was there like
No, they had plans for a second season.
a Willowverse?
Well, I don't know if it's as much Willowverse as just more Willow, but they've since pruned Willow.
Is that right?
Yes.
Another casualty of the streaming wars.
There will be no second season of Willow, Disney Plus's live-action original series based on the 1998 fantasy film directed by Ron Howard. Comes 2 months after the 8-episode first season premiered. It did not. I don't think it ever broke the top 10 in the streaming.
I didn't even know it came out. When did it first start airing?
I think. What are we now? We're in March, so I think it was like December.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about it. Yeah. And I have Disney Plus.
I mean, it got pretty decent reviews, but I just don't think that ultimately there was an audience that was clamoring for it.
It's the same thing for theatrical Willow when it came out. Like, you know, it got an okay reception, but it wasn't. It didn't go huge. And I've never met somebody who's like, I fucking die for Willow. So I was shocked when they said we're going back. Did Ron Howard do it or no?
No. Jake Kasdan did it. And I think Lawrence might have had something to do with the script for the first Willow, and so he came back and was the showrunner for the Willow TV series. But I just guess that Disney is beginning to, under the new leadership of the old guy, Bob Iger, re-examine what they're spending their money on. Because it's like, that's a lot of money for a TV show that either not many people were asking for, I'm sorry, or very many people watched. And so, you know, a show like that, shooting overseas for fucking however long, it's just like $100 million TV show. And that's a lot of money to spend on something that gets you no new subscribers and they can't actually sell and won't sell any merch for. And I think that that's sort of part of the new wave of Disney is, can we make money on this?
They've said the same thing. Bob Iger, I think, somewhere talked about, like, we're going to re-examine Marvel as well and Star Wars in terms of, like, how much quantity that they're putting out there. I guess, you know, obviously they weren't happy with the returns on Quantumania, so I don't know how that affects the Marvel Universe going forward if they slow that down a little bit, like they've slowed down Star Wars. Like they just announced, what, last week or 2 weeks ago, the movie, like the Patty Jenkins Star Wars movie is never happening.
Right.
The Kevin Feige Star Wars movie is apparently now never happening. And the one that they're holding on to is whatever Taika Waititi's doing. They got rid of the Benioff and Weiss Star Wars thing. Like at the end of Game of Thrones, they were like, these guys are doing Star Wars. And they're like, nope.
Not so much.
Yeah.
I think Damon Lindelof is still co-writing a Star Wars movie, but there's been no word of what that is or when it's coming. They seem to be very much more invested in TV, and even they're beginning to sort of pull back a little bit.
Do you think that, you know, I know look, I've loved watching The Mandalorian. I loved watching Boba Fett and whatnot. Do you think if you're getting it at home on Disney Plus, that maybe you're just like, yeah, I'm Star Wars'd out? Do you think it has that effect on the theatrical versions?
I think it might, but the only way they really make money on it is if it's a movie.
Is that, what do you mean? Explain.
Because you've already, at this point, if you were going to subscribe to Disney Plus, you subscribe to Disney Plus.
Right.
And they're getting your $11.99 or whatever it is it costs already. So by putting out Skeleton Crew or putting out Ahsoka or whatever that is, there's not a new audience who's suddenly like, that's the one I was here for.
Yeah, like
fucking
nobody's like, Simon Andor, now I'm fucking on board.
Yeah. You rang my bell, motherfuckers, here's my money. I don't think that's the case. So they can't really make new money off of spending $90 million on a new Star Wars show, whereas if they make one movie, that's $600 million of box office potentially that they get to make. And so I think there's going to be a bit of a shift back into movies for Star Wars and a slowdown on Star Wars series, because it's you're preaching to the choir at this point.
It's weird because this is a world I always dreamed of, right? Where it's like more Star Wars, more Marvel, more fucking everything. And now there's so much that like I haven't caught up on all of it.
It's
Maybe
hard to
I'm
be.
part of the problem.
You are, Kev.
Fuck.
It's hard to be nostalgic for a thing you get all the time. And
True.
Star Wars is a nostalgia-driven enterprise. And if I don't ever get a chance to miss it, then how do I hunger for it?
That's true. Like between the end of Return of the Jedi and like, you know, not counting Ewok movies on TV and stuff, what was the next thing they did? The re-releases in like the 90s?
Yeah.
So it was
the
like
re-releases
14,
in, like, the
15 years
mid-90s.
later, and there was like all this fervency of like, I remember Star Wars was a thing that was done. When Disney bought Star Wars, my first thought was like, how weird. Why would you spend billions of dollars on a movies that are done and you would never make another one of? Because I have no vision whatsoever. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're going to make Star Wars. We're going to give you more fucking Star Wars than you could shake a stick at, or a lightsaber. And now it seems to be biting them a bit in the ass.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and some of that was also that when we were in a pandemic, the only thing that people could do was watch shit on streamers. Right. So that was, and the only way you could judge a company's health was by the number of subscribers they had for their streamers. So everybody just poured money into it. And then the world opened back up again. And maybe people stopped watching as much on streamers. And then people were going back to the movies and spending money again. And they've already spent the money they were going to spend on Star Wars.
Apparently the season premiere, I don't know how they do ratings now in this world with digital, but there's one site that is able to do a kind of Nielsen-like rating version of what's going on like in the world of streaming. But according to that site, which, you know, I again, isn't like the network reporting it, but they said that the season premiere of Mandalorian was down by like 1 million or something like that. Didn't have as many people as Obi-Wan Kenobi had, and didn't have as much even as Boba Fett. So yeah, it seemed like when you first started watching The Mandalorian, it's like, oh my God, they'll be doing this for 40 years straight. Because even if Pedro Pascal's not doing it, it's John Wayne's grandson. It could be his great-grandson as well. But it might be that they pull the reins in on that as well. Maybe we get a lot less Mandalorian than we thought we were ever going to get.
Could be. Maybe they decide that there's an ending to this story.
Yeah. Against their will. They're like,
Against their
end
will.
this shit.
Yeah, come on, bring it home.
I thought we'd watch Grogu grow up and become a teenager and fucking an adult and shit, but
That motherfucker still can't talk.
Did you Amy Sedaris in episode 2 was like, he said my name, but I think she was just making a joke, right?
And also, did we talk about the fact that apparently Grogu was training with Luke for 2 years?
Is that how long it was meant
According
to
to Favs, that's how long that he's with Luke. The show doesn't tell you that. It feels like it's like next Thursday.
Yeah.
The fucking Mando's like, I missed that little son of a bitch. Let me go get him back. No, that was 2 years worth of story time.
What happened in those 2 years?
He didn't learn to speak. What the fuck?
Not even backwards or broken like Yoda.
Yeah, like you gotta get the kid a speech
Speak I
therapist.
can, or anything like that. What else we got?
Remember there was a Batman television program that Bruce Timm and Ed Brubaker were doing for Warner Brothers.
Was that the one that were you?
I had a little something to do with it.
So
but
you remember?
I remember quite well because they paid me money. But HBO Max decided,
$65.
Oh, I bought like 6 bags of Doritos with that money. But HBO Max decided they didn't want to air it, and so Warner Brothers Animation kept producing it, and so now it's at Amazon. Amazon has ordered 2 seasons of Batman Caped Crusader.
Oh shit! So wait, is your episode?
I mean, as far as I know, they haven't told me that I don't have an episode anymore.
So your screenplay will be produced?
Yeah, I think it's already in the works because they never stopped producing it. Like Warner Brothers Animation.
Right, nice. Give it up for Mark. But back when the HBO Max began and the streaming wars were in their earnest, everybody took their IP in house, and they're like, "We're not fucking selling this anymore to other people." Model always used to be like, you could make a thing, sell it to somebody else. Warner Brothers didn't necessarily have to put it out; they could be the producers of it, but like it could air other places. And now it's after the constriction, it feels like they're going back to the old model because what they realize is like we make a lot more money selling our shit to other people rather than just putting it on our channel, because to your point, anybody who wants that thing is probably already getting that thing.
Right. So wow. I mean, it's odd to imagine a world in which Batman is airing on a non-Warner Brothers outlet, but they gotta make that fucking money.
They're looking for that fucking Bezos money right there, man. The only person who could afford billionaire Bruce Wayne is fucking Jeff Bezos. Zillionaire Jeff Bezos.
And for Amazon, it's super smart because now they can sell a bunch of Batman merch using a new cartoon. Because if you ever watch something on Amazon, the X-ray feature pops up, and they can just drive you right to their store where it's like, hey, you want to buy some Batman comic books? You want to buy some Batman merch? You want to buy some shirts, some fucking slippers, underoos, whatever? We got 2 seasons of this show.
Do they do that with their shows already?
They sometimes, yeah. Like I've been
like
pushed.
You could watch the man in the high tower or whatever, and they're like, buy these paper towels just like he uses.
Well, I think it's less. Yeah, don't buy laundry detergent while you're watching Handmaid's Tale, but but I think that they could sell you Batman shit. I think they also have gotten the rights to the original Batman the animated series, so now they have a Batman fucking suite that they could.
What, Amazon Prime did?
Yeah.
So that's no longer on.
I don't think it's exclusive to HBO Max anymore.
Wow.
So now they can be the home of all things Batman.
Fair enough.
They're not fucking around.
The business has changed right in front of our eyes, and then changed again back right in front of our eyes.
Indeed. I have 2 more stories, one of which I think you'll like, and one of which is a bit of a sad bit of news that broke today. The first one, it's a little old also, is that your boy, John Bernthal, is back.
Can't protect it, Rick.
Can't protect it, but I'm coming to Disney Plus, Rick. He's back as the Punisher in the new Daredevil Born
series.
Again.
I'm all for it. He was absolutely wonderful in the Netflix version, but it's going to be weird to be like Disney's Punisher. He's mad, but not that mad.
Yeah, it's going to be like the Terminator in T2. Just lots of fucking just wing him.
Yeah,
I gotta kill him so much, just fucking wound him.
What is he's on the Daredevil proper show?
Yes.
What? All right. I mean, I'm all for it. How hard can Disney Plus go? What's the hardest they've gone? Do they have an R-rated equivalent or anything?
I mean, they have the rights to all of the old Netflix stuff that they now have. They're hosting on Disney Plus. I don't know how hard this show is going to go. I think it's got a very legal emphasis, but yeah, I don't know. And Deadpool 3 is going to be a Disney release. So, and they're not fucking around with that. Like, that's an R-rated movie.
That's like the other two.
Like the other two. So,
I guess we'll see. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw a number of people returning from the Netflix show, except they didn't bring back Foggy and Karen yet.
Not yet. Anything's possible.
Yeah, it's true.
And our last bit of news broke today, incredibly sad news, is Lance Reddick, who played Sharon in all 4 John Wick movies. He was in The Wire, Fringe, Bosch, among 100 other fucking things over the last 25 years, passed away today.
The guy from The Wire.
The guy from The Wire,
Really?
60 years old. In the middle of
That's young. And he
Very
was always so healthy.
He looked healthy.
Yeah.
But he's 60 years old. He was in the middle of the John Wick 4 press tour, which is coming out next weekend, I think.
Yeah, it's here. I'm sure we'll open with 4 people in the audience, but yes, John Wick's coming out.
Yeah.
No, we expect that to actually be big. So he was out there doing press?
He was out there doing press.
Passed away.
And passed away. And I mean, it says natural causes, but they're not providing any other details. And it's still a developing story. He just passed away today.
Oh my God. That's sad.
But yeah, and he was in a bunch. You've heard his voice 1,000 times and everything.
He was in the Rick and Morty Vindicators episode as the Ghost Train, right? The Ghost Train guy?
Yeah, he was in the Mass Effect games. He was in the Destiny games. He was in so great on Fringe. But yeah,
He's amazing on The Wire.
The Wire is, everybody who was on The Wire will always have The Wire as the shining thing on their resume.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, no matter what else they did, because it was, at least until Breaking Bad, the undisputed best show that had ever been on TV.
Yeah.
And even now, it's still a bit of a toss-up. But, young dude who left his mark. 60 is far too fucking young.
Way too young, man. Jeez.
But yeah, so not to bring us down for the end of the show, but we'll get to fucking Q&A, and you guys will bring us back up again. But pour one out for Lance Reddick, who did a ton of fucking
Give
great
it up
work.
for Lance Reddick, kids. There's one more bit of news. I don't have it in front of me, but the cover story of the Hollywood Reporter, your alma mater,
Indeed,
this week is Ben Affleck promoting Air, his movie, which I've heard is amazing. I'm going to go see the premiere on the 27th. But he did a very Ben Affleck type interview. One of the things I've always loved about Ben is how insanely fucking candid he is. I'm always kind of open and forthright and stuff. I'm sure I stole a bit of it from him early on, because when he would like sit in front of the press, he would just open up, and he's so well read and so well spoken and stuff. So this article provided a bunch of context for not just Air, the movie that he directed with Matt in it, but he talked about Justice League and Batman v Superman and stuff. And he talked about they asked him like, hey, are you gonna direct? Like, because I guess James Gunn had said like Ben's not coming back as Batman, but like he's talking about directing a thing. And he was like, no, like flat out was like, no. And he was like, I've got nothing against James Gunn and whatnot, but he's like, I won't be doing that at all. He went hard in his dedication for Zack Snyder. He was just like, if Zack ever returns to that, he's going, I'm ride or die with Zack Snyder. He loved Batman v Superman, but he talked about the Justice League experience and what a trying, beyond trying time for him it was in his life. In the piece, he talks about how when they were, I don't know if he referenced Joss Whedon, but he referenced Joss Whedon without referencing Joss Whedon, perhaps by saying that there was a guy who was like, hey man, I know what the problem with this movie is, and if you give me $60 million in 2 months, I can solve it for you. And he was like, he didn't. And he talked about being overseas for it, and that was where he lost his desire to direct a Batman movie or be involved in that area of the business. Now he seems to be going back in the direction of his Argo and Gone Baby Gone stuff. But he talked about like during the experience of making Justice League, or not making the original Justice League with Zack, which he pointed out is now retroactively his highest rated movie on IMDb. He's like, according to the IMDb, the best movie I ever made was Zack Snyder's Justice League. But he talked about while making the reshoots of Justice League with Whedon, that he got into a very despondent place. And he's very frank talking about his drinking. And he talked about like, it was either drink or jump out a fucking window. And that's some deep fucking shit right there, man. Because people were like, how come Ben's not making that movie? And he told us flat out in the press. It's a wonderful article worth reading because, again, he's always candid and really interesting and so well-spoken. But I read that piece cover to cover. Number one, looking for a reference to me, and there was none. But number two, I just always love to follow his press because he does it differently than anybody else. And that I thought was incredibly soul-bearing. But man, I would hate to be Joss Whedon today.
I don't,
or any day for that matter.
He's not having a great decade.
No.
But my extent of my following Ben Affleck's press is when I discovered that he speaks fluent Spanish.
Yeah.
And so watching him do Spanish press and then seeing the interviewers be astonished that fucking, ¿qué?
Yeah.
Like, Ben Affleck, right? And
he's the complete package, man. He's honestly like, I love being Kevin Smith, but the only person I would like to be in this life other than Kevin Smith is Ben Affleck. I've always absolutely loved him, but yeah, he's so fucking smart. Like, you got to remember his mom was like an English teacher and stuff. But he never stops growing and changing and adding to the resume. Always surprising to a lot of people, except those of us who've always known him. So when we were doing junkets for the movies we did, whenever I wasn't doing an interview, like, they've got this like kind of main control room where back in the day they used to be like 8 TVs, and now it's probably laptops or something like that, or one monitor with 8 screens that are kind of embedded in. But I would always go to like mission control, they call it, just to sit there and watch his interviews. In a junket situation, you only get like 5 minutes with people, but he was never reticent or quiet. He would like treat each one like with its own degree of enthusiasm. Yeah, he's one of my favorite people on the planet. And not just because like I know him and he's a good guy, but like even if I didn't know the guy, I would always find him incredibly interesting as somebody who goes out there and works in this business and is pretty candid about it. Yeah, I'm done blowing Ben. Well, not forever, just here.
I'd like to meet him someday.
You never met him?
No. How would I have fucking met him?
I said maybe over the years or something, like working at fucking THR or working at...
I don't like interviewing famous people.
Is that right?
Yeah, for the most part. because
Did they give you that choice back in the day?
I started as a critic. Like my first, I was an editor, and then when I decided to start writing for magazines, I wrote as a critic. Video critic first, comic books, and then just movies in general. But then as I began to move on in my career, I could then kind of cherry pick the kinds of things that I wanted to do. I really enjoyed editing stories, but every now and again I wanted to talk to people, but they were almost always creators. I wanted to talk to writers or directors. I never really wanted to talk to actors because I didn't want to be part of whatever narrative that they were telling about the movie they were making.
Right.
Because unlike Ben, most of them are not candid about what they're doing.
Right.
And so it just always felt meh. And I never liked the sound of my laugh listening to it on the tape back when I had to transcribe my own fucking interviews, because every laugh to a famous person sounded like the fakest laugh I'd ever heard. Like, next question. It's like, oh God, no. Is that
That's
really
how
what I
you
said?
laugh at my fucking jokes, man. Next question.
You're a famous person. That's just what happens.
Fuck.
But I think you were the first famous person that I ever interviewed for Entertainment Weekly. And it was the first time we ever met in, not even in person, this was over the phone. But it was like, oh, well, he's just fucking like one of us. He makes a thing. He's a creator, he's a writer, he's a director, like he's under the hood of this stuff. And so we were just talking about dumb superhero costumes, but at least it wasn't some exercise in narcissism or vanity or whatever. It was
We kind of geeked out.
we nerded out.
Kind of do what we do here every week and stuff.
Yeah. And so there was an even playing field. I never had to struggle with, all right, Brad Pitt, tell me how difficult it was for you to make this movie again. Like, oh shit, I bet it's hard every morning waking up looking like Brad Pitt. I can't empathize at all.
Yeah, I never gave you that interview.
It's like, bro, you don't know what I got to go through.
I became something of a go-to guy too. Like I remember first we talked, and then whenever you needed a geek quote, because there was a time before everyone was fluent geek and in comic book movies and shit, you would hit me up and be like, "Hey, do you have a quote for this?" And I was like, "Why, yes, I do." But one of the sweetest things that Mark ever did for me was, and I've talked about it before, but during the San Diego Comic Con, I forget which year it was. This was the year right before 2008. So it was when Zack and Miri was coming out. Mark had a panel that was what, icons or
It was Visionaries.
visionaries. That's
Entertainment Weekly presents the Visionaries.
and he put it together a panel of visionaries to speak to. One of them was Zack Snyder, who had Watchmen coming out.
Yes.
One of them was Frank Miller, who of course
It had the Spirit coming out.
yes, but also of course but of course the author of Dark Knight Returns and inarguably the person who kind of reignited Batman amongst other things, of course 300 and everything else. One of them was Judd Apatow, who was like riding so fucking high at that point. And then Mark hit me up and he goes, "Do you want to be the other guy?" And I was like, "Just to have one of these things is not like the other." And he was like, "No, you're a visionary." And he put me on a panel, particularly at a time in my life where I was like feeling like really low and way out of the loop and stuff like that, which I'll never forget, man. I'm not like saying it saved my life, but it really did save my ego at that point, to be able to sit up there in front of a Hall H with a bunch of cats who were busy and vital and stuff. And I was still just kind of being me and stuff.
I love the version of that story that you tell, because you continue to miss a crucial part of that, which is you were the first person I asked to be on that panel.
Is that right?
And everybody else said yes because you had already committed to it.
You're going to make me cry. Is that right?
That's 100% what happened.
Oh my God.
Like no.
I always thought you were like, well, I can't get fucking anybody else. I'll call Kev and shit.
No, you were the linchpin that got Judd to say yes, that got Zach to say yes, and then Frank, I think, just showed up because I'm doing the Spirit, and maybe there's, I don't know, food in the green room. And but no, that's how that came together, because everything is always, when you're putting out an ask like that for Hollywood people to do a thing, they always want to know who's already doing the thing, because nobody wants to be the first person to be there, because then it'll be like, "Hi, I'm Judd Apatow, and there's the guy who directed Critters 4." But no, that is 100% the way that went down, because they were like, "Oh, Kevin will be there, great."
It had that afforded me one of my favorite moments in my career, because when Judd exploded, Judd was, I was an R-rated comedy guy, and there was this working theory in my world of like, well, no R-rated comedy is ever going to make more than 30 million, because that's all my movies ever did was like 30 million. And then the 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, or movies that did way more than that and stuff. And, I was like, oh man, Judd Apatow is making like better Kevin Smith movies and making more money doing it. Fuck. So he was the king of R-rated comedy at that point. And so I was sitting next to him on that panel, and at one point, he was just like, well, I'm only getting to do what I do because Kevin Smith laid the track. And I was like, oh my God. Like, it was everything I needed to hear in that moment. He's since moved way on from that and shit, and forgotten that the tracks were ever laid. But it was a seminal moment in my fucking career, man. Wow, that's so, it's not like I forget that part of the story. I had no idea.
I've told it before.
Well, I used to be a stoner. I forgot a lot of things, Mark, and now I'll never
so many
forget
potholes in the past.
This is very many. Wow. Oh shit. I don't know how I'm going to do the rest of the show. I feel so warm inside. Okay, we're done with the news.
We're done with the news.
Give it up for the news and Marc Bernardin, ladies and gentlemen. 10:30. What time did we start?
8:30.
8:30. So wow, we're 2 hours into this. Banff, man, how are things going online with chatter and whatnot?
Banff. Things online are good. We've got no unruly people. People are very angry with Mark for giving Last of Us an A- instead of an A+, which I think is funny.
Why? Because it wasn't like an A+ or just an A?
Yeah, they think it's like the best show ever, and they're mad that Mark didn't love it as much as they did. Even though
Mark could save the world, and somebody would be like, "Yeah, but what about Mars, Mark?" Like, A- is a huge fucking grade.
Seriously, guys, like
Mark's you gave it like a 92, and they thought it should have been a 97.
Yeah, I knocked him off the dean's list with that A-. Sorry.
It's so awesome to sit next to you because you're always seen as the person that hates everything, and I'm always seen as the guy who loves fucking everything.
I know, and I like a thing, but just not enough for Phil from
Was
Kansas.
anyone mad at him for liking Shazam as much as he did?
No. I don't know if anybody's seen Shazam, though. Like, nobody was talking about it in the chat. Mark is the first person in the U.S. to see Shazam.
First.
And where did he see it? Not at Smodcastle, at fucking Cinemark.
Man, I'm not going to live that down, am I?
No, actually, based on what you just told me, you can go to Cinemark for the rest of your fucking life. In fact, I'll pay for you to go to Cinemark. I'll buy your popcorn.
Fuck out of here.
All right, so that means we're moving on to the Q&A portion.
We're moving on to the Q&A portion.
When we do this show in Hollywood at the Scum and Villainy Cantina with Banff Band Live and whatnot, we always get to pull questions from the audience. When we do it online, for the home shows, of course, JC pulls from the chat and stuff. But tonight, we're going to get to do it right here with a live audience, just like we kind of do it at Scum and Villainy. At Scum and Villainy, we usually stand people up against a wall and put a camera on them and stuff. So we don't have a second camera and a wall, but if we pick you to do the question, I think you should come up here, because otherwise we're going to have to repeat it and shit for everybody in the audience. So if you're going to ask a question, know that you're going to have to come up here in front of the audience, which, as you've seen, it's a very friendly audience. It's only the online audience that gets mad if you give something an A-. So let's start the Q&A, kids. Fucking damn, come on up here. Dun-dun-dun. Yeah, the stairs over on this side. This is Gina, everybody. Give it up for Gina.
So I know you guys were talking about The Last of Us and it being obviously based off of a video game. Is there a video game that you would love to write as either a series or a film?
Great question. Give it up for Gina.
Thank you, Gina.
Start with you. You seem to be way more of a gamer than I've ever been in my entire life. I stopped playing games when Atari went out of style.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played a first-person shooter game. I'm a scroll guy.
You're a scroll guy and a hockey guy. I remember you were playing lots of fucking
EA
NHL.
Sports. It's in the game.
I think the one that I'd want to do with a partner would be, there was a game that came out, I think, mid-pandemic called Ghosts of Tsushima, which is ultimately it's a samurai game, right? It's you're a wandering samurai who's got to avenge your dead father, and you're traveling. Tsushima is this island off the coast of Japan, which itself is an island, so it's it's an archipelago, I suppose.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Archipelago, yeah.
I just thought it was like Archipelago. But to be fair, when I went to Los Angeles for the first time, I was after like Clerks got picked up. Me and Scott Mosier went out together, and he was like, "Where do we turn?" I was like, "We turn on Sepulveda," and he was like, with such derision. I talked to him about it like 2 weeks ago, with such derision in his voice because he'd been to Los Angeles many more times than me, and he was like, "Sepulveda."
I think Archipelago should be your like witness protection name.
Yes, that's my porn name, Archipelago.
I've got a sausage delivery for you, man, from Archipelagos. But no, it's a gorgeous fucking game.
How do you say it again?
Archipelago.
Does everyone agree with that?
I love that you're like, I don't trust you, sir. I'm going to ask these 200 people who all had English, apparently.
Say it one more time.
Archipelago.
Archipelago. I got to remember that. Even when I read it phonetically.
Well, I mean,
That's wrong too, isn't it? I'm not a smart man. I'm clever, but I'm not smart.
But it's everybody I think has those words that they encountered first in a book.
Yes.
And never heard it out loud.
True. I honestly feel like you're the first person that ever said it out loud.
I remember very distinctly encountering the word idiot in a book, and I pronounced it a diot.
All right, now that's fucking dumb.
And it's perfect for the word.
Yeah.
Like, what did you say? A diot? Idiot.
Like, you know what? I gotta fucking record this.
Siri will tell you the same thing, though.
But it's just for my own future reference. All right, this is my voice memo. Say it again.
Archipelago.
Archipelago. Let me just play it back, make sure it works.
Did we just like trigger the Winter Soldier or something? I diode. Archipelago.
It's gonna be my ringtone. Okay, back to the game.
Yeah, but it's this gorgeous story. It's just about revenge and about understanding who you are and about family loyalty and but it's a Kurosawa movie come to life. And so to do a show like that, to do a TV show like that, hey, it's been a long time since I've seen a really good samurai fucking TV show, which is part of the reason why I would want a partner to do it, so I can find somebody who has way more of a connection to that particular culture. But I just fucking loved it. That game and Last of Us Part 2 got me through like the first couple of months of lockdown because I was just in another place and time that was not this one, and just getting to fucking hack and slash people to death because I had some pent up frustration.
It takes a long time to play a video game nowadays, right?
It's,
not the 20 minutes the Pitfall would take.
No. Well, if you're good at Pitfall, you could play that shit
I
for
never
hours
made it to 20 minutes either. But wait, so how long does it take to play that game?
That game was in 19 hours to finish the campaign.
And when you do something like that, are you like, leave me alone for the next day until I finish the game?
No, like I would play it like, hour clips, 90-minute clips. Sometimes it'd be up too late because I'm having too good of a time, but I can't marathon that shit because I just... My bladder isn't that big anymore. And I just liked parceling it out. Like it's like a really good book that you don't want to just blast through, that you kind of want to get to savor. Last of Us Part 2, I think was like 30 some odd hours. Part 1 is like 18 or 19 hours.
Does something like The Last of Us change when you go play it again, or it's always the same?
It's always the same story. You're always on rails. Like it has this feeling that you're in an open world that you could adventure and discover. But it will always bring you back to here's the spine of the story we're telling.
Kind of like that Dragon's Lair video game from the 80s and shit.
Yeah.
They always made you feel like you put in a buck and shit, and you hit the joystick once and then fucking die, and you're like, wait a second. It felt like they dictated the story, not you.
Very much so. Because you can only build so much of that game. There are games that are open world that you can do anything in. Like the Assassin's Creed games are huge. So that you can there's a main story, but you could just spend fucking weeks just kind of discovering ancient Egypt. And here I'm in Constantinople. This is cool. Never been here before. There was a pirate game, a pirate version of Assassin's Creed called Black Flag, where you could spend as long as you wanted to on the high seas destroying other pirate ships and plundering their booty.
And not playing a plot game at all. Just
At that point, you're just about the booty.
the Christian who's up in the booth for us, Christian Cortez. He was last night. We were testing Splinter here, and then I came in later on after I walked Mark out to his car, and Christian, are you there? You got a mic?
I'm here, Cap.
What did you? I was watching this short film. I was like, "What is this?" And he goes, "This is a short film I made," and it was incredibly fucking cinematic. There were like dolly shots and fucking crane moves. I was like, "How did you fucking do this? How did you make that?"
I made it using Grand Theft Auto 5.
That's
Nice.
That's a thing.
That's a very big thing. There's a whole community of people who love to do it. I
I'm
taught
so
myself how to
fucking
do it.
old and ignorant. Like, is that so? You can. There's a function of the game where you just go make your own movie.
It literally has its own director mode. So you can create characters, you can make stories. I mean, you're limited by the pre-made animations in the game.
Right.
But if you play your cards right and take the time to do it, you can make something really cool.
And when did Grand Theft Auto come out? You said that's from number 5. When did this all begin?
That came out in 2013, but I didn't start making movies with that until maybe a couple months ago.
So this shit has existed for 10 years, and last night was the first time I heard that you can make a movie inside Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, pretty much.
Confirmed.
Yes. Hate to break it to you, old man, but that's how they're rolling.
All right, so that's your answer? What's
That's
the game?
my answer. Ghosts of Tsushima.
My answer is there was a no, was it? No, it was a Sega Saturn game. No, it wasn't even a Sega Saturn. It was a
Genesis?
Sega Genesis game called The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. I would totally make that fucking game. Oh my God, you got to be Rocky, you got to be Bullwinkle. Like, it was nuts.
You got to do moose and squirrel shit.
Yes. Let's go to Banff Man, because I'm sure he's a gamer. Banff Man, you got a game that you would have liked to see make it into a
Banff.
movie yourself?
Oh, weird. It didn't put me on. Huh.
there.
Let me see.
Oh, you're here. We can see
There we
you.
go. I think if I had to be real about it, I would say Legend of Zelda would be my number 1. But I also think that NBA Jam would be really fun. Like in a Looney Tunes kind of Space Jam way, NBA Jam.
What is it? Is it like you could put together any team you want or something?
It's 2-on-2 basketball, but there were all these like power-ups, and you could, like, the ball would catch on fire if you started like making a lot of shots in a row, and it's just so endlessly playable and fun. I think you could make a really fun, like, 90-minute comedy out of that, like a cartoon.
Fucking A. Give it up for Banff Man.
Good job. All right.
All right. Question number 2. Where do we go? You pick.
I'm picking that dude.
Come on up. Join us. What's your name, Captain? Markel? Come on up, Markel. Give it up for Markel.
How you doing, guys? So my question is, the show is called Batman Beyond, based on, obviously, Batman Beyond. So I was wondering if you guys fast forward into the future with your show and you could choose your own Terry McGinnis. You have to choose a male or female or both, and you don't know them. So you can't choose somebody that you know.
I can't choose.
Fucking great question, man. Give it up.
Who's your Terry McGinnis?
And one I could get my head around because I have watched Batman Beyond.
Ha ha.
You go first, though.
Why? You go first.
Fuck. All right, so I'm old Bruce Wayne. We're both old Bruce Wayne. But in the model of Batman Beyond, we would have to be the old versions of us. Are we bitter and curmudgeonly like him, or can we be happy in our old age?
So wait, am I trying to pick a superhero? Am I picking somebody to start a podcast?
And we can't know them. Because Bruce Wayne didn't know Terry, although, as we found out at the end of the show, he made Terry. So by virtue of that, I guess Harley would be my my answer. Okay, so we got to pick somebody that presumably we don't know. So does that mean somebody whose podcast that we saw? Or a celebrity. Oh, Ben Affleck. Because the press tour would be amazing. And he's just like Cocoon. He'll never get older and he'll never die. Let me see. Who would I pick?
But I can't know them.
Oh, wow, fuck. When you say we can't know them, like, do you mean biblically? Like we didn't fuck them? Or because I would pick Christian, man. Christian's like so knowledgeable and shit. Somebody I don't personally know.
Bamf.
All right.
Oh, fuck. Saved by the band.
I'll save you guys some dead air. To replace me on the show, I would choose the little girl from Ghostbusters Afterlife, McKenna Grace, because she seems so nerdy and that she would take the show technically to the next level. And she's
The actress who plays her.
I don't know her. To me, they're one and the same. So she's also funny. She like tells bad dad jokes, and like I like that.
Fair enough. Look at that. A good answer. Thanks for stalling, but I didn't think of anything yet.
All right, I got one.
Oh, thank God.
Caleb McLaughlin, the black kid from Stranger Things. That is his last name, right? I think he's a nerd. I think he's deep in this particular scene. I don't know if he podcasts or not, but clearly he knows how to use his voice. Can put on a show, and yeah, I mean, it was either going to be him or it was going to be Alana Pierce. No, sorry, because I know you now. You fucked it up. That's the monkey's paw of asking that question, Markel. So we can't do this now.
Fuck. So somebody I don't know.
No.
Who wants to do it? Isaac. Isaac is here on his birthday. You came from where? Indiana? And it's Isaac's birthday. Give it up for Isaac. Isaac brought his wife and his, like, this is even more impressive, 3 fucking children of a young age. 4? You left one at the hotel. Fucking man, you got, that's like heirs and spares right there. So he brought 3 of them to see Flash Gordon and left, I guess, the smallest one at the hotel. Wise choice. Drove 15 hours with 4 small children in a car. 19 and a half hours with fucking 4 kids going, where are we going again? You're like, to the shittiest movie theater on the planet with seats from the 80s. Oh, excellent point.
Yeah.
You
Except
owe a
don't
guy
give
who wrote
fuck.
that fucking line.
Children-
Let me see. I'm fucking picking Isaac. But while we're on the subject, yeah, well done, Isaac. While we're on the subject, though, of people who drove distances, whenever we do Fat Man Beyond back at the Scum and Villainy Cantina, I don't even know if Banff Man knows this. Right directly in front of us, that's where the camera is. There's a booth where people always sit. And Jamie and Shannon have been there, like, in the beginning I used to call it cat ears because she wore these fucking headphones that had cat ears on them and shit. But they've been to like almost every live Fat Man Beyond that we ever did at the Scum and Villainy Cantina. And last night when we were doing Streets of Fire, like, we saw them in the audience, and they're here tonight. Where are you kids sitting right now? Bam, right there. What's the name of the podcast you guys do? Married with Television. Oh shit, I can't pick you because I know you guys. It's still you, Isaac. But they came out from Los Angeles to be here, from Hollywood to actually be here and stuff. Who came? Yeah, give it up for him, man. Who came from far? Let's do this. How many people are, show of hands, are from, like, the tri-state area? Put your hands together. Thank you for coming, man. We're not discounting you at all. But who came far, like Indiana and Los Angeles? Where'd you come from? Anchorage, Alaska?
Shit.
Oh my God. Is it so weird to see that we have night and day here as well? Were you in the area for something else? You did not just come for this, did you? He grew up in Delaware, but he's been living in Alaska since 2010. What brought you to Alaska, arguably the fucking Delaware of the North? Air Force brought you out. Thank you for your service. Give it up for him. Wow, Alaska. All right, more hands. Yes, right there. No. Sit the fuck down. Not the question. We're asking where you came from, man. We're at that part of the show. From where? Close.
Yeah, we're looking for the frequent flyer winners here.
Yeah, go ahead. Austin, Texas, man. And you came in just for this? Fucking A. You were holding up fucking signs. Do you still have your signs? So what's your name again? Josh. Josh came in from Austin. Josh on that Kevin Smith Club on when I was doing for a Red Hot Minute the AMP show last month and whatnot. I was talking about, we're doing the Muppet movie, and he was like, I'm gonna, if I could smoke with you, I'll fucking come out from Austin. And I was like, yeah, come on. And he came, and I wasn't here. So he came, bit the bullet, and came fucking again. And beautifully, you're wearing a bathrobe, right? Fucking love that, man. Like, way to be comfy and shit. I love that. But he was holding up signs like we were doing Let's Make a Deal. Hold up one of your signs. You bring it up here so everyone can see it, man.
But I walked up to the theater today, and he was outside, and I thought it was you. Because he's got like the baseball cap and the bathrobe. I was like, Kev's just hanging out in front of his theater. That's weird.
I have been known to do that. Give it up for Josh, everybody. Okay, show us your signs. This one says, it may only be a chode, but I'll still swallow Kevin Smith's load. Did you go, aw, like that's sweet? For amazing oral dictation, call me. That's fucking hot. This guy loves the cock smoker. Very nice. There it is. Give it up for Josh. Well done, Captain. First time anyone's ever done that. Like, I've never been to any of my shows, let alone fucking Fat Man Beyond, or where somebody like fucking let's make a deal that, man. Like, the last few shows I've done, he said, we both or just me? He said, I've seen kind of sad, which, what the fuck, man? Like, but because of that, you were like, let's cheer him the fuck up. I've spent decades making my friends and family and fans laugh. And is that what it was? I got to communicate it to the home audience. And he figured it was a time for fans or people that care about me to reciprocate. That's beautiful, man. Thank you. Yes. I have gone through a fucking thing recently and stuff, and I'll talk about it somewhere down the road, but that means the world, man. He was talking about that at the Flash Gordon screening afterwards, and I gave him a big hug. I appreciate that. Thank you for making the trip from Austin. Oh, stop it. Means the world. Okay, hands, where else? People from far away. Oh, okay, you're like, no, not that.
I got a question. Fuck.
Yes. Questions we'll get back to. Distance. Anybody else? Hand in the air.
Who can beat Alaska?
You came from North Carolina? That's still a fucking distance.
You
well
cross
done.
state lines.
Yeah. Yes. Greece?
Shut up.
The play? No.
The word?
Wait, you didn't come from Greece just for the show. How long were you living in Greece? 3 years. 3 years in Greece. What were you doing there? Military. Thank you for your service, man. Wow. How do you compare Greece to Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey? Just as like fucking epic, right? This right here is awesome. Right on. We are. That's right. Tonight is the Greece of fucking New Jersey.
Yes. This is Atlantic Highlands Parthenium.
Yes. Is that how you pronounce it? Learning all sorts of shit tonight. Hands any place else from further away or far away? All the way in the back. What you got? Houston, Texas. Oh my God,
All
you could
right.
have rode in with Josh. Did you fly or drive, Josh? You flew. Did you guys fly or drive? And did you fly to do other things here or just to do this? To get engaged? Oh, shit!
You came here for that?
Yeah. New Jersey is the state of love. Why didn't you get engaged in Houston? Was it what drew you to the East Coast? He'd never been to the East Coast before, just communicating it back. Go ahead. They went to Shenandoah National Park. Where's that? In Virginia.
Which is for lovers.
Yeah. Oh, fucking. Now we're seeing the connection. So while you were there, somebody popped the question? Yeah. So was it the male popping the question to the female? I don't want to assume that it was the not unfortunately. That's, you know.
And it went well. You both seem like you're chipper. That's a long way to go for a no. Can I think about it?
What were you surprised? Been together 10 years. Yeah, oh God, no. I'm sure they want to get married in front of relatives and shit like that. 10 years. What fucking took you so long? No, well done, man. Fucking and did you do it in Shenandoah? Fucking hey, look at that, man. That's awesome. Give it up for him. What a great story.
Bam.
What's your name for the home audience? Oh, Bam Fan, hold 1 second. What's your name for the home audience? Like we don't want to fucking say. Gordon and Elaine. Well done, Gordon and Elaine. Marriage is it's an institution. What do you got, Bam Man?
Somebody in chat earlier was from Gibraltar. Like the Rock of Gibraltar. Yeah.
It's company?
So I thought that was kind of cool. I thought only like penguins lived there or something, like birds. I didn't know people did, but
right on. But technically not here, so
yeah. Well, they're virtually here. They're as much there as I am.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Welcome, person from Gibraltar.
I want to give a shout out also to somebody else who's there, who, when we started doing this virtually during the pandemic, was popped up in our chat room. And 20 years ago this summer, he had quit Midtown Comics and I took his job. It was my first job out of college. And that's Sixto.
City in New York?
Yeah, and Sixto, he and I reconnected. Tonight's the first time I've seen him because I see the back of his head in your camera shot right there. So we've become friends again 20 years later through the show on chat every week. So
what's your name? Sixto. And where did you come from again originally? Dominican. And so wait, you took JC's job or vice versa? So you had the job and then JC took it over. And you passed like ships in the night and then re-met online?
Yeah, like 20 years later. How crazy.
Do you know what happens next? You have to go to Shenandoah together. One of you got to pop the question. Oh, that's adorable, man. He said, thanks, JC.
Okay, bye.
That's all I got.
Hi. Bye.
Bamf indeed.
All right, should we question?
Yes, we'll get to this question number 3.
Yes.
And we'll do 5 instead of the normal 3. Yeah, we'll keep going. All right, you pick.
That lady who likes Willow.
What's your name? Laura, give it up for Laura. Laura's next. Laura, what can we do you for?
Ooh.
First of all, happy St. Patrick's Day. So mine's a two-parter question. Firstly, as I was listening to Marc Bernardin's lovely Littleton voice, I realized that I would be so perfectly happy if he would narrate the film of my life. So my first part of my question is, who would you want to narrate the film of your life? And then the second part is, what fiction author would you want to write the story of?
Ooh.
Give it up for her.
Who would I want to narrate?
Can it be anybody, living or dead? I choose my father because he'd be alive again. No, the narrator of my life, I would have loved to have been Stan Lee. That would be amazing. Hey, Spider friends, this is Stan Lee. Here's what Kevin did today. Masturbated furiously. Look at him go. He's so productive. Excelsior. And what creator would I like to write my life? Oh, hands down, Neil Gaiman. He's so fucking inventive and so creative. Yeah. And he would take a boring life and make it fucking interesting. Those are my choices. You?
I think. I mean, it's sad because it won't happen anymore. I mean, it's not that he's passed away, but he seems to have rescinded and pulled back from performance in public life. But James Earl Jones, I feel like would be just the fucking, yeah.
Everything would be so dire. Mark masturbated.
All too easy.
Excellent choice.
He took
Commanding,
a dump.
amazing
All
voice.
too easy. As to who writes it,
My favorite part of James Earl Jones narrating your life would be his moment in Star Wars where Han Solo shows up and he goes, "What?" So whenever you did something weird, he'd be like, "What?"
like the very excited James Earl Jones.
Yes. My favorite Darth Vader moment of all time. And that even includes fucking Rogue One where he fucking goes total fucking
Just
Sith
surprised.
and shit. He never did it again. Like Darth Vader is always fucking chill and shit, but that one moment is, "What?" Sounds like my mother.
Yes. I find your lack of Big Macs disturbing. And I think I know it's a little easy for me, but I feel like Aaron Sorkin would be the guy I would want to hire for that.
Oh my God, you'd be so fucking well written.
Yeah, right? I get all these fucking cool ass speeches and we'd be walking up and down places and shit. Lots of walking and talking with James Earl Jones as the voice of God behind me. He seemed to have forgotten something in his bedroom. He walks back and forth.
Man. Fucking Sorkin does more walking than those fucking Lord of the Rings movies. What about you, Banff man? You got any ideas?
Banff. Just because I think it'd be silly, like Matthew McConaughey to do both.
No shit. All right. Both.
Wow. Can he write?
Yeah, I mean, or you just want your life to be written on a bongo beat?
We'll find out. I mean, he might run to be governor of Texas. I hope so.
You think he's going to be governor of Texas?
He keeps saying no, but I think he'll say yes eventually.
I feel like if he's going to write your life story, you have to have way more hacky sacks in your life in order for that to be a thing he's interested in.
All right, that was question 3, man. Now we're heading out to question the. Normally, we never go this fucking
this is the
far.
bonus round.
Yeah, we're going farther than we've ever gone on this episode.
Is that a little girl over there with a question? Oh boy, come
Come
on.
on up. What's your name? Oh my God, you are a little girl. We've been cursing our fool heads off all night. Give it up for Erin, everybody.
My dad has been watching you for a long time, and he told me that you know the Avengers, so I just wanted to ask, how do you know them?
Give it up for Erin, everybody. Do I know the Avengers? Here, I'll give you all my. I mean, I know their names. I have met some of them. I met Chris Evans. That's his name.
Yeah,
I always,
it's okay. There's 2 of them.
I know. Yeah, totally. Met him when I was on an episode of the Tonight Show, the Jay Leno Tonight Show, and he was the first guest. I was the second guest, and I forget what he was there promoting. It wasn't Captain America, but he was there. When he was there, he was working on or about to work on Captain America 2. And seeing us sit next to each other, like on the fucking couch in the chair, we looked like the number 10 at that point. He was very thin and I was kind of round and shit. And I remember during the break, like there's a picture of me where I'm like all thumbs up and smiles and shit. And so during the break, I wanted to talk about Marvel and shit. And I was like, oh my God, what's it like working for Marvel? And he was like, it sucks. And he was really kind of down on it and shit. But he was like, I don't know, this next one might be better. And, you know, of course, the next one was way better. Robert Downey Jr., I've only met once, and it was backstage at the San Diego Comic-Con. Me and Jason Mewes were downstairs in the warehouse area having smokes. So we were smoking cigarettes and stuff. I was a big cigarette smoker back in the days. Don't ever do that, Aaron. It's my PSA for the evening. So we're down there having a cigarette, and the elevator, the freight elevator is how they bring everybody up to do the Hall H and then come down. And this was them, I think, getting ready to promote Iron Man 2. I think that's what they were there for. So the freight elevator comes down and Favs comes out, and I know Favs and shit. So he nodded at me and I nodded at him. Gwyneth was on the elevator as well. And I knew her for like a red hot minute years ago when she used to date Ben Affleck. She's a voice in the Clerks cartoon. She plays herself. She did not nod at me at all. And then Robert Downey Jr. was also on the elevator. And so when Favs gave me the nod and I nodded back, Robert Downey Jr. looked over and then smoked right over to us. And I don't mean smoke, like he fucking rushed over. He didn't run, but he walked very briskly, shook my hand so vigorously, and he was like, it is excellent to meet you. I still hold that in my heart. Like one day when I'm dying as hopefully a very old man and shit, I'll be like, I met Iron Man, you know, still fucking means the most to me. I interviewed Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, and it was for the movie that he did with Elizabeth Olsen, which was
Wind River?
Something, I think it was that. It was at Sundance. And she was also an Avenger, so I can bring her up. Elizabeth Olsen was like so incredibly happy to meet me. She was like, oh my God, we used to watch, me and my brother used to watch, does she have a brother?
I don't know.
I know she got those sisters and shit. You can't fucking avoid them, but wait, did he pass? Did you say he died? What? Quicksilver. Oh, that was fucking good, man.
Bamf. She has a brother named Trent.
Thank you. So there was a brother, I'm remembering correctly. And she was like, me and my brother watched Mallrats all the time when we were kids. I'm a huge fan. She was so fucking enthusiastic and wonderful. And Renner could not be fucking bothered with me in the least. I was like, hey, Hawkeye. I was like, uh-huh. And he talked to her pretty much the whole time. Have I ever met Ruffalo? No. I was a huge fan of You Can Count on Me. On Tom Holland? I think I've met, yeah, I did meet Tom Holland because I did I don't know if it was the Emerald City Comic-Con or something like that, but it was one of the Comic-Cons where him and Anthony Mackie were guests, and so was Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany as well. So I was the guy they chose to interview them on stage. And Tom was absolutely sweet, but I think he was way too young to know my shit at all, or way too classy. But he was very nice, very, very nice. Let me see. Paul Bettany, I sat next to on an episode of The Talking Dead. And I'll never forget this because, like, there's Mark talks about like the fake laughter when you're interviewing like famous people or whatever. On that episode, oh my God, on that episode, we were talking about an episode of The Walking Dead that had just played that went incredibly hard. It was just like relentless, like a thing happened and another thing happened and another thing happened. And I remember going like, they came to me and Hardwick was like, what'd you think of the episode? And I was like, man, watching that episode was like, how do I put this? Because it was on TV. I was like, you know how like when you're getting oral with somebody, and Dad will explain that, Aaron. And I was like, and you're done, but they keep going and stuff. And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, it was exactly like that.
It's like when you're tickled a lot and you're done being tickled, but somebody keeps tickling you.
Yes.
That's that.
There you go. Well done. You're such a better dad than I ever was. He laughed so legitimately hardcore. It wasn't a fake Hollywood laugh. I think you can find the clip online and stuff. he was like, he thought that was hysterical. So much so that when I saw him again at that Comic-Con, he's like, you know what I still find funny? And he brought that shit up. Okay, and then have I met Scarlett Johansson? No, I don't think so. Who?
Bamf.
Hemsworth I fucking met. He was in Jay and Silent Bob reboot, man. He had done an interview someplace at Vanity Fair or something where he talked about the show. He talked about a Fat Man, I think the incarnation, it might have been Fat Man on Batman at that point. I don't know if it was Fat Man Beyond yet. But he talked about how like him and Taika Waititi like changed shit up on Thor Ragnarok. He's like, we listened to like Kevin Smith on a podcast talking about like, why won't they do something different or something like that? I was like shitting on Thor 2. And rather than be like, fuck Kevin Smith, they were like, yeah, let's fucking do something different. Let's do something more fun. So he gave me like partial credit or something like that. And when we were casting Reboot, I was like, oh my God, somebody reach out to Hemsworth and see if he'll come do a thing. And he fucking said, yeah. And he came and showed up, and we were in post on the movie, and the piece that we shot was him as a hologram. And he was promoting Endgame. He was out in Los Angeles for the premiere of Endgame. And so he came to us on a day where he was like, he had just done the Ellen show. He did another show, and he was doing the Endgame premiere in Los Angeles. Then he was getting on a plane with the rest of the Avengers, and they were going, I think, to London to do the premiere there. And he built an 1.5-hour block into his schedule to come shoot with us. And like, I'll never forget, because Liz Destro is one of the producers on the movie. And so she was like showing him into a room and where he was going to get changed to go do his thing, because he was wearing something else and he wanted to wear something in the flick. And she was like, she was talking to, he was like, is this a room okay to change in? And she was like, oh, absolutely. And he fucking ripped his shirt off right there in front of her. And Liz is like a no-nonsense, nuts and bolt producer. But she was like, I got so hard. So while he was there, we shot with him. He was absolutely lovely. He was another guy that was like, I'm a huge fan going way back and of the movies I made when I was younger and stuff. And then he was like, are you going to the Endgame premiere tonight? And I was like, no, man, I don't know any Avengers. And he goes, you do now. And he invited me to be his guest. And so I got to go to the premiere with Harley as a guest of Hemsworth. And we sat in his row with the other fucking Avengers and shit like that. And it was weird. Normally when you go to like premieres, the industry premieres, they're very dry. There's not like a lot of enthusiasm and stuff. But Endgame being what it was, everyone was like going crazy in the audience, even though a lot of people worked on it. But I was like the loudest person. Like everything that happened, I was like, ah, and shit. And my kid was so embarrassed. But I remember at one point, like Hemsworth looks over at me and goes. So I've met him, and I guess, is that all the Avengers?
My favorite part of that story
Man.
is that if you know this podcast at all, then you know that Kevin historically is not a dude to be like, that movie sucked. So this is the life of being the dude sitting next to Kevin, like, you know, the unnamed black dude on the plane that goes down, and also, so it's like, clearly I'm the dude who hated Thor: The Dark World, but we saw Kevin, he didn't like the movie, so we decided to change it up a little bit.
I got the credit for your
You got the
negativity.
credit for me shitting on their movie. But yeah, it'll be, wow, this plane out of Anchorage, Alaska. Kevin Smith died. Also, a black dude?
Who played a lot of video games.
Yeah.
My only other tangential connection to the Avengers, other than of course working with Stan Lee and stuff, who had a thing or two to do with those characters, is at Grauman's Chinese Theater out in Hollywood, where, you know, in Hollywood they got the Walk of Fame where people got stars on the sidewalk with their names on it and shit, and that's a high honor I've never received yet. I'm still alive, so it may happen in my lifetime. But an even higher honor is there's a small courtyard in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater where stars have been putting their handprints and footprints, like going back to the 40s and maybe even earlier than that. And Jason Mewes and I were lucky enough to get chosen to put our hands and feet prints in the cement at Grauman's Chinese Theater, which meant the world to me, because I've known about this place since I was a kid. When I was a kid, we went to California because my father was like, we got to go on a vacation. The fat one likes movies. Let's fucking go there and stuff. So he took me, my brother and sister, and my mom to Los Angeles and to Hollywood. And one of the first places we went was to the Grauman's Chinese Theater courtyard. And, my father he knew I loved movies and stuff. So he was like showing me the handprints and footprints going like, this is this person. He's like, this is Jimmy Durante. He put his nose into the cement. This is Marilyn Monroe for the older people. I was only interested in seeing the footprints of just recently Darth Vader, R2-D2, and C-3PO had put their footprints into the cement. And there's a picture online of me and my brother in the most 70s fucking outfits you've ever seen, kneeling in front of those footprints. And my father, right before we left, I'm sorry I've told this story to death, so people have heard it before, but you're young and you probably haven't. Right before we left, my father was just like, he said a thing that a father says to a kid or an adult says to a kid, like, if you like baseball, it's like, maybe you'll be in the major leagues one day. Before we left Grauman's Chinese Theater that day, my father was, after we looked at all and cased every footprint and every handprint, my father was like, maybe you'll be here one day. And 40 years later, I got to do the same thing. And I took my father's ashes with me, he was dead, and I took his urn and pushed it into the cement. So right next to my footprints and my handprints is my father's urn as well. There's a circle, and people are like, what's that circle? I was like, that's my dead father. And they're like, he sure was small. But I tell you all of this to say this. Me and Jay are right below the Avengers. Like, all the Avengers did their handprints and footprints as well. So you could see the entire Avengers clan, and like right below us, there's me and Jay. So I guess I have kind of interacted with all the Avengers. Your dad's right. I was sitting there going like, this poor kid got lied to. But you're right. I have met a lot of the Avengers. Excellent question. Give it up for Aaron.
I've never met any Avengers. I have like a couple of Avengers adjacent encounters. Like my favorite is I was at Comic-Con. I want to say it was like 2018, maybe 2017. And I was crossing. If you know anything about Comic-Con, there's 150,000 people who descend on like 12 square blocks of San Diego. So it is the most densely occupied 12 blocks in the country at that time.
Yeah.
And so I'm crossing the street to go from the Gaslamp District, which is the part of San Diego, across these like train tracks and this whole thing to get to the actual convention center. And it becomes this like sea of humanity all trying to get across these train tracks. And so I'm standing there with my friend. He's an actor. His name is Nyambi. He's on The Good Fight. He was on Mike and Molly. Sweet guy. And we're just standing there walking across. And then there's this woman dressed as a pink Power Ranger having the best time I've ever seen somebody have at Comic-Con. Like, she's just like dancing around and kind of spinning on poles and like, dude, like interpretive dance as the pink Power Ranger. I was like, how come I can't have that kind of fun when I come to Comic-Con?
I'll never be that happy.
What am I doing wrong? Like, this is my 15th time. I should be having a better time. But she was having the time of her life. And it was only like a couple days later when I got back to LA did I discover. And I was like talking to her, and she would like say, no, this is my first time here. I'm having so much fun. This is great. Like, I want to come in costume because I always heard about it, but never did it. And that was Lupita Nyong'o, who was there for the Black Panther, the big, like, we're making a Black Panther movie. Look at our first trailer. And that's how she did the con as the Pink Power Ranger. And I've never seen somebody so excited to be anywhere as she was excited to be in San Diego and just getting to like frolic. And then I met Benedict Wong at a comic convention in the UK, the one we did the London show.
Where we did Fat Man Beyond.
We did Fat Man Beyond there.
We're Fat Man on Batman at that point.
And he was just in the green room, just chilling out. And so I walk over and I was talking to somebody, I don't remember. And he sat down and was like, hi, I'm Benny. Like, no, you're not, you're Wong. And so we just chit-chatted for a couple of minutes and he just passed on. But I then got super starstruck when John Cleese showed up.
Oh, shit.
Like, and I think Benedict Cumberbatch was also there. I didn't get to meet him, but I got to watch him lose his marbles when John Cleese came in. And he was like, should I go talk to him? I don't know. Should I go talk to him? I'm not sure. And he finally worked up the stones to go tell John Cleese how much he meant to him. And that was the other object lesson of everybody's a fan of something.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter at what point in the pecking order, at what level of the hierarchy you are, you grew up loving a thing. Everybody did. And sometimes your life will lead you to a place where you get to confront that for real and tell somebody what they meant to you. And like, never miss those opportunities because they'll only ever come by once if you're lucky. Pretty cool, Kev.
Is you just complimenting me? Okay. Who told you to? Oh,
Nice job, buddy.
well done. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was lovely.
One more Avengers adjacent story. Inarguably, the leader of the Avengers, I would say, is Kevin Feige. God bless you. The guy over at Marvel Studios who's like the mastermind behind all the interconnected movies that we love so much. And years ago, 5 years ago, I had a massive heart attack. You probably didn't hear about it. I never talk about it. And lived through it and shit. And one day, like maybe 2 weeks after I survived it, I was driving on Mulholland Drive in Los Angeles. I was heading to the Valley. And my phone rang, and I didn't recognize the number, but I'd answered it. And I was like, hello. And they were like, hold for Kevin Feige. And I was like, oh my God, like Kevin Feige, like, of course. And so he got on the horn and he goes, Kevin, this is Kevin. And I was like, Kevin, this is Kevin. Like, you know, we did that for 20 minutes. And he was like, I'd heard about your heart attack. And like, I just wanted to reach out and say, I'm so glad you're alive. As a fellow Kevin from New Jersey, because he's also from New Jersey, who dreamed of being involved in movies, like you making Clerks and getting into the movie business was hugely inspirational for me. So as he's saying this, I'm getting like all choked up, but then also I'm like, wait a second, like because I survived a heart attack, Kevin Feige's gonna offer me a Marvel movie right now. And so there I am sitting there going, waiting for it. And I was like, well, thanks, Kev. That means the world, man. He goes, I just wanted to tell you that. Bye. And he hung up and shit. Okay.
One last question?
Yes, time for our fifth pick.
Oh, I get to pick.
Of course.
Oh, geez. Trying to see what I can see. What can I see? Oh, yeah, you I see. Don't worry about you. Let's go all the way in the back on the aisle. Yeah, you.
What's your name? Rennie? Give it up for Rennie, everybody.
So with this being the end of the Ides of Marc, I wanted to know what the best thing, the funniest thing, and the most inspirational takeaway that you've had from all this.
Give it up.
The best thing, the funniest thing, and the most inspirational thing. I mean, for me, two of these movies I've never seen on the big screen before. And so I'd never seen Dune on the big screen, and I'd never seen Streets of Fire. Those were home video discoveries for me. Flash Gordon I had gotten to see, as I told the people who were here. It was very seminal of a movie for me, in that it's the movie where I discovered that people make movies. Because up until that point, I just thought movies existed. I didn't know that they had to be conjured into reality by craftsmen and writers and directors and actors and stuff. I just thought that Prince Baron was Prince Baron. I didn't know that that was an actor playing him. And so the best part of that for me was just kind of, seeing stuff that I'd never seen bigger than I'd ever seen them.
Wait, did you tell the dad story?
I told it in front of Flash
Tell
Gordon.
it here, because it's so beautiful.
I might have said it before on the podcast. I definitely said it to the people who were here for Flash Gordon, but when I was 9, I saw Flash Gordon in the movie theater. Because my dad took me as a Star Wars fan to everything that had spaceships or laser beams or whatever, because the boy likes space, we'll take him to the space stuff. And so I'm sitting next to him in Flash Gordon, which, not a great movie for children. There's all kinds of weird sexual dynamics and incest, and yeah, it's all that stuff. But I'm sitting there with this scene where Flash, if you're familiar with the movie at all, he's sticking his hand into a giant tree stump, which has some kind of scorpion creature at the center of it. And so the tension of that scene is Flash Gordon about to die? And I, at 9 years old, completely expected him to die because I didn't understand how movies worked yet. And so my dad leans over, sees me on the verge of tears, and says, "Don't worry, they never kill the hero." And so I stopped worrying, and Flash Gordon didn't die, and whatever, he marries Dale Arden, I suppose. But that was the first time that I had encountered the phrase, "they never kill the hero." Who's the they? Who are the they you're talking about? And that sort of led me to start paying attention to movie credits. That led me to start paying attention to like reading magazines like Starlog and Cinefantastique and Fangoria, and discovering that it was a job that people had to make these movies. And that's when I discovered that maybe that's a job that I could have at some point. So to watch Flash Gordon and to be reminded of my dad, who isn't dead, he's just not here. He's in Hempstead. But to be reminded of that moment.
It was such a sweet story when I thought your dad was dead.
No, I'm going to see him tomorrow for dinner. But
you're so lucky.
Yeah, come on, Kev. But no, so to live in that moment again when the world opened up to me and the future became a path that I could follow is why Flash Gordon means as much as it does to me. So getting to see that was, I think, the best thing. The funniest thing was most of Dune is hilarious because it's just the bonkerest of bonker movies. But yeah, I had never noticed before how many things are happening in the background of that movie that are insane that I just never saw. So there's a sequence early on where a guild navigator, I don't know how much you guys know about Dune. You shouldn't know that much about Dune. It's not that great a movie. I still love it. But anyway, this giant creature whose his head is shaped like balls, and his mouth is like a vagina, and he smokes a lot of spice weed.
Aaron, ask Dad what those things are.
I was very careful to use the appropriate terminology. And he's like in this giant like aquarium thing, and he gets ushered out, and it's this huge scene. And there's this one dude in the corner who's just vacuuming up. Like, he's just working the floor. He's like, the guy who's working the Zamboni, I guess, in the middle of stuff. And he's just like doing his gig. And I lost my poop at that dude who, like, David Lynch was like, you vacuum. Everybody else, just watch. Okay, director. And then what was the last one? The most moving thing? Most inspirational. It's that all of these movies exist. None of them are great, but everybody who made them committed to having them be movies that people could see. And they've all got some semblance of quality in them. Like Streets of Fire is not a wall-to-wall great movie, but the music is great. Some of the performances are great. Bill Paxton is committed to being that kind of greaser douchebag. But every movie has people who care about making that movie. And every one of these craftsmen got up every day at 6 o'clock in the morning to drive to a set where some dude was polishing the sets of Flash Gordon to be as shiny as humanly possible when the dumbest things possible happen on those sets. And as a person who wants to make movies and wants to make TV, that level of dedication to the ridiculous is always inspirational to me.
Look, over the course of the 3 days we've done this, it was lovely to see people come from far away, from close and stuff. To see anybody show up to come watch Dune with us was pretty cool and stuff. So that was meaningful. But what are the three categories again? It's funniest, best moment, funniest moment,
inspirational.
And most inspirational. Hands down, I believe all three happened tonight when I finally learned how to pronounce archipelago. Ladies and gentlemen, have you had a good time this evening? I'm going to remind you, if you're here in the room or if you're home watching, tomorrow at Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, Mark is going to be signing. I'll be there as well. Come down to the stash, get your stuff signed, say hello in person to Mr. Marc Bernardin. Let me see. Don't forget, there's stuff coming up here at Smodcastle Cinemas if you want to come out for it and stuff. The Impractical Jokers movie, a double feature on 420. Looks like 422. We're doing a Chasing Amy thing. Tickets always available at smodcastlecinemas.com. And what other housekeeping do I have? It means the world that this many people came out on a Friday night, particularly a Friday night when most people in the world are like, let's get drunk. On St. Patrick's Day. The fact that you all came out to do the show really turned my frown upside down. I was having kind of a shitty day, and boy, you cats really spun it for me. So thank you for flipping the script. and being here. It means the absolute world. I want to thank everyone that made this possible. Give it up for Smodcastle keeper Ernie O'Donnell. Our man up in the booth, give it up for Christian. Our man on the other side of the country, give it up for Banff Man, JC. But there is no Fat Man Beyond without the man that sits to my left, and there's certainly no Ides of Marc without him. Give it up for the great Marc Bernardin, everybody. And that, kids, is Fat Man Beyond for this week. I'm Kevin Smith.
I'm Marc Bernardin.
Tune in next time. Same fat time, same fat channel. Smodcast.com or
YouTube.com/Kevin Smith.
Jeff's Kiss, everybody. Good night. This is from the cat. Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the AKA Ask Kev Anything. Every saga has a 10-year anniversary, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what happens when Jay and Silent Bob get old. I'm Kevin Smith. Kiss you.